Listen to me, motherfucker. I'm talking. I say horrible things sometimes because I think they're funny. My podcast is a verbal mosh pit because it's just me pinwheeling around. You don't know where the fuck I'm going to wind up, and I generally have no idea when it's going to end or start. I'm responsible for this whole goddamn thing. I want a little respect from you people. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. On a time clock, folks. I am on a time clock today because I am late. I'm always late. I'm not going to lie to you folks. I always tell Karen I always tell Lily I'm going to get here at like 4. And then, life happens. And unfortunately, I don't get here until like 7. That seems late. No, I will get here around, 5 sometimes, 4:30? I don't know how it works. All I know is I'm late again today. And I'm sitting here in a sweatbox, folks. I am. It's been very unseasonably warm in Los Angeles. I can tell you that. It's been, like 80 degrees during the day. And I don't know much about that because, hold on, Lily's doing a gangster lean, trying to open a window, it looks like. And shit's falling. Oh, she's going to set the fan up for me. That's good. Yeah, folks, it's been unseasonably warm here, but and also I'm a big fat dude now, so not that I haven't been. Let me. It's not like it happened overnight. It's been creeping up on us, folks. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's fatness about, and I happen to be. Hold on, we're going to turn the fan on. I'm going to see if that. Do you guys hear that blowing into the microphone? I hope not. I hope it doesn't impinge your enjoyment of said show. Although I'll be honest, the show itself is going to impinge your enjoyment of said show as I sit here sweating like an idiot. And I'm on a time clock, so that's never good, folks. When I have a deadline or when I have to get, because I am doing stand-up tonight, so I had all these grandiose ideas. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get home because I had I was in Graveyardville last night, and I'm like, I'm going to get home and I'm going to do a couple hours of banging around on emails and figuring out what to do, and then I'm going to be in bed by 8. You go to bed at 8, you get up by 3. That's 7 hours. That's not bad. You get up, shave, shower, get ready, go visit Lily, do a show, get ready for stand-up. Well, here's what happened to me this morning. I wound up online doing stuff and on the phone and making plans for Nigel, which because I was talking to Andy Partridge. And why do you laugh? You don't even know who Andy Partridge is. All right, so you can make a mean face. That's fine. It's so funny. Go back, rewind that. After I said that, hear that smacking noise. That was her like smacking herself with the little notepad that she has, like, and making a mean face, like, all right. I'm in my head, folks, because I have a fucking deadline, and I'm like trying to get this done. And also, I will tell you this: I don't even want to. That's too much behind the curtain. Nobody cares about that. You guys don't care about that. All right, never mind. But the bottom line is, so it's been unseasonably warm, and yet I wear 2 shirts and Spider-Man pants anyway. Because I'm sitting here. I got jeans on with Spider-Man pants, and I'm wearing a regular T-shirt and a Bears jersey. So I'm hot, folks. I'm sweaty. It's if you hear dripping, it's me. So, and not to mention the fact, like I said, I got to do stand-up tonight, and I am fucking freaked out about that because I haven't done stand-up in 3 months, easy. And then when I did it, I just was in a room full of 11 people. I'm doing some room tonight that I don't even know. I'm excited to do it. I was excited to be asked. It was by a guy named Rye Silverman who listens to the show, although who may not after tonight after I go fucking tank it in his room, because But then I had to go and like put it on my Facebook page, and I had to go on this maze of. I guess it was formerly the Lost Souls Cafe, but now it's the Harlem Place Cafe. But the best part is if you go to the Lost Souls Cafe on Facebook or something, they're like, look, check out our new concept, the Harlem Place Cafe. And it's not a concept. You make sandwiches and coffee. I mean, what the fuck? What concept is there? The only concept you could have for Harlem Place Cafe is if I walk in and everybody's dressed like Eddie Murphy in Harlem Nights and Della Reese gets shot in the foot. I mean, honestly, that's a concept, all right? If everybody's dressed like old gangsters, that's a concept. But if your restaurant changed its name and continues to sell sandwiches and coffee, you don't have a concept. You just have a new sign. That's it. I'm glad I'm doing this after the fact, because if I did this last week, they would never allow me into Harlem Place Cafe. They'd be like, you know what our new concept is? Not allowing assholes in. Boom. Turn around and hit the road. Take it walking, friend. I am useless. I am a useless person, folks. I have no talents. None. I've wasted my... And it's funny, Lily and I are talking about how... I will normally show up, and Lily and I will talk for like an hour, hour and a half before I even do the show. Because you think I got to do a ramp up on the show. I got to ramp up into the goddamn show. And so I showed up today, and we didn't have that much time to talk. And all of our talk was about how horrible everybody in the world is. I mean, Lily and I were talking about her gym, and she's got a trainer that she wants to fucking murder. Which, first of all, all right, look, I love Lily, all right, and we sit here all the time, and we get along. But then she's telling me stuff that the trainer's doing, and I'm like, well, that's what trainers do. That's kind of like their job. And I go, and she's like, no, he's like an asshole, and he does this and this, and he keeps talking about, which I understand. She's telling me that her trainer keeps telling her about a book that he's writing about training. I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck about your book. Okay, I got news for you. You got a chapter live and in person right in front of you.
Yep.
So why don't we fucking take care of it? I get so tired of people telling me what they're gonna do or what they should have done, and I don't seriously. That means nothing to me. I don't know why you think that's important. That you need to tell me you're writing a book. I don't give a fuck. No one cares. Who cares? This happened to me at Graveyardville. You received my text that you can't call me over there, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Here's what happened. I work in Graveyardville, folks, and that's a nighttime job. That's like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I'm very diligent. I'm very much aware of my surroundings when I get there. I'm protecting everyone. Once I show up, everyone in that building can tuck themselves into their nice beds and go, we're protected. Because downstairs, there's a guy in a too big shirt and a too small coat who's going to make sure nothing fucking happens to our cars. We all know this. You guys know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So, I guess last Wednesday, Lily, it was her birthday, and so she had to go out and do some fine magic stuff. And so she was going to put on the show up real late. She was going to call me when she got home. Well, she called me over in Graveyardville first because she wanted to touch base with me and make sure that everything was okay. Well, when she called over there, I answered the phone, and she said, hey, and she talked to me, and it turned out it wasn't me, unbelievably, because Lily forgot that I don't work on Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm off. And the other guy who works there was shockingly awake and was able to pick up the phone. Because as I've mentioned to you folks, I don't know if I've mentioned to you folks, maybe I have, I've told you this, the other guy who works there sleeps. And not just sleeps, I mean... Did you hear that banging noise? Is someone here? Did the clown just re-arrive? Well, don't say no, because if he's not here, then someone's here and just burst in. Lily has to go and investigate. Here's my favorite part. I'm staying behind and making her go into the dark room. What's happening over there? Trouble? We're okay? All right. Jesus Christ. Well, the good news is I didn't get out of my chair. Folks, I gave you a blow-by-blow of some murderer who was about to... How great would it have been? Honestly, I wish you'd have been killed. No offense. But that would have given me something to talk about. I just sat here for fucking half an hour trying to figure out what the fuck to talk about, folks. How great is it if in the middle of the show, Lily opens the door and gets an axe in the head? Boom! Now we got a goddamn show. By the way, you'll never hear it because she's dead and it's never going on the internet. But still, now we got a goddamn show. Do me a favor, go get killed. That'd be great. Now I have something to talk about. Wow, that would have been... Because you should have seen it. She walked through the dark, and she creeped over, and she opened up the door, and it's dark in the other room. Oh, man, how great is that if you get stabbed? Oh, no, I mean, I don't want you to get stabbed, but it at least gives me something to talk about. Well, look at this. You didn't get stabbed, and I'm still talking about it. Do me a favor, don't get stabbed. And I'll still talk about the possibility of you getting stabbed. I live in terror of that happening, like to Karen and something bad happening, like her getting beat up or killed or something. What would I do? I'd have to fucking... make it my life's work to murder that guy, right? I'd have to find him.
I guess.
Oh, dude. All right. The hell was I talking about before you almost died?
I called you at work.
You did call me at work. And Tony, I shouldn't say his name. All right.
Too late.
Yeah. The other guy who works there sleeps. And not just sleeps. I mean, look, if you nod off, because that's happened to me and I fucking hate it. There's nothing worse than when all of a sudden you're there and then you're not there and then you're there again and you go, oh, man, because I've fallen asleep on the job before, folks, that we've talked about. But that thing where you know what time it was and you wake up and go, oh, shit, I just lost 11 minutes. And you don't know what happened in those 11 minutes. All you know is, there's something on your face and you don't know what it is. That's terrible. No one wants that to happen. But this guy, for him, it's not a shame to nod off because he never accidentally naps. He turns the lights off, closes the office door and locks it, and literally goes to sleep in a chair with his feet up. Like an old sheriff in a town of 11. I mean, it's just crazy to me. Uh, but he was awake the other day when Lily called, or maybe you rousted him from his slumber. I have no idea. But then Lily, of course, because she's a great person, didn't believe that it wasn't me, and so gave him a litany of tests. What did you do? You like talked shit to him or something, or
No, I went, oh, come on, Mike, be serious.
yeah, yeah,
He goes, this isn't Mike. He's probably home. He doesn't work tonight.
right,
I went, oh, I'm so sorry.
yes. So that happened on Wednesday. Uh, I go to work on Saturday, and my cell phone rings at about 1 in the morning.
Oh, no.
And nobody calls me on the cell. Why is that? Oh no! What is you get? People get phone calls. You're so funny. Nobody calls me on my cell phone. All right, because you don't get. I have AT&T, and I don't get reception in buildings. I don't know if you guys have that problem. I don't get reception in cars or in buildings or outdoors. That's what happens with AT&T. I'm so happy Verizon got the iPhone. I can't wait to make the switch because my contract is up soon in like 2 months, but then Karen's lasts another 6 months, and I'm debating whether to just wait it out and see what Verizon comes up with. I'm not buying a new iPhone. I got no fucking cash. I'm yawning right in your ear. Jesus Christ. I'm boring myself to tears with this horrible story. So my cell phone rings. It's my wife. I pick it up, and I said, hey, what's happening? Because apparently I'm doing this show on the phone. And I go, hey. And she says, oh, my God, you're not going to believe what just happened to me. And as I've just mentioned, I live in terror of bad things happening to my wife. And the fact that she's home alone at like 1 o'clock in the morning and calling me and saying, oh, my God, you're not going to believe what just happened to me. Now I'm frosty. Now I'm going to hop in my car and go save her. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I go, what? And she says, I just called over there, and it rang and rang and rang and rang, and I got the machine. And I said, well, is that why you're calling on the cell phone? She goes, no. I hung up, and then I called again, and it rang once. And the owner of the building picked up and went, don't call here anymore. And Karen went, what? She goes, don't call here anymore. This is a business line. You shouldn't be calling this number. And Karen went, I'm sorry about that. I was calling Michael, and he said, it's a business line. No personal calls. All right, Karen? And then he hung up because he knew her name, which even freaked her out even more then. Because she said it was like a ghost, because he picked it up and went, don't call her anymore. She went, what? Because she's expecting me. And then she also, like you, thought it was me fucking around, but she knows my voice and was like, Michael? And he goes, no, there's a business line. You can't call her anymore. No personal calls. And so she calls me and tells me all this, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why the fuck would you transfer the calls to your apartment? Why am I here? Like, why am I even here guarding the building if you don't even trust me to get goddamn phone calls? Like, I mean, that's half the battle. People call me at night and ask me to do things for them, and then, of course, I can't do them because I'm useless, as I've mentioned. But the whole point is they should be able to call me. I don't... It didn't make any sense to me why you would transfer the calls. And the only thing I could think of was that the other guy who works there told him that I have ladies calling me in the middle of the night. And I don't know if I'm rendezvousing or I'm having dates. I don't know why it was. I don't even know why it's any of their fucking business, quite frankly. I mean, if the building is safe, who cares who I'm fucking in the lobby? Honestly, I don't get it. Christ, I had a homeless person, in the lobby a few weeks ago, and I took care of that mess, didn't I? Am I not doing the job right? It just seemed weird. I had a guy call me. This happened 2 weeks ago. A guy calls me, and look, don't get old, folks. All right, don't get old. I'm old. All right, because I say I'm old because I'm as old as I've ever been. But if I get to be like 70, I might just fucking jump off a bridge. I mean, I don't know, because to be frightened of life, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be someone who's just cowering and doesn't know what's around the corner and is actually scared of it. Like, because now we all see the corner and we're like, what's around there? That might be awesome, what's around the corner. But if you're 70 years old, nothing is awesome. There's nothing coming up that's awesome. If you're 70, you're fucking finished. Unless you're rich. You got to be super rich and traveling all over. But then so what? Then you're just in France eating soup at 4:30 in the afternoon instead of eating it in Florida. Who the fuck cares? God damn it, don't get old. I don't want to get old. I don't want to fucking be gray with my balls around my knees. Jesus Christ. My balls, seriously, because that's what your balls, they hang. We all know that, folks. Everybody knows that. Your balls completely descend. And I mean, and descend like that's what they do. They rappel down your leg. They actually, as if they were going into a cavern. Your balls descend. And then they're like that thing you keep on your desk that goes, oh, Jesus Christ. All right, so I don't want to be an old, scared person. That's my bottom line. Because this old man calls me, and I can hear the fear in his voice. And if you're ever calling another man for help, that's again, I don't ever want to get to the point where I can't just throw on a nightshirt and go outside with a candlestick and bop somebody in the fucking skull. All right? That's what because apparently I'm solving all sorts of problems from the 1800s. I'm out there with my fucking stocking cap on, and me and fucking Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod have candlesticks and that stupid snuffer that you'd use to put out a candle, and we're gonna beat the shit out of some fucking Jack the Ripper character. Me and Sleepy McSleep from my office. I'm gonna roust him, and we're gonna go out and clean up this town. All right, so, so this old man calls me, and he's just you can hear the fright in his voice, and he said, and I can't say the name of the owner of the building. He's like, for our purposes, we'll call him Nathan. I don't know. I was trying to think of a fun name, but I don't know. Because my go-to names are always Phil, Roy, and Carl. Those are always my go-to names. Because I love old man names. Like that's, those names that you would never even fucking name. Nobody names their kid Carl anymore. Nobody. If you name your kid Carl, he's going to grow up to be a frightened old man. Well, we're all going to grow up to be frightened old men. Even you ladies. All right, so.
Call him Mr. Roper.
No, come on. I can't do this service to this guy. Let's go with Roy, because that's one of my favorite names, because it's a name nobody ever has anymore. So, this old man calls me and goes, Roy? And I said, no, this is Mike downstairs. And he goes, oh, are you the guard in the office? And I said, yes. And he goes, oh, yes, we've never met. And he gives me his name, which again I won't say, but let's call him Roy. Everybody in the story is named Roy. And he says, I need to make a report, and I was going to call the police, but I figured I would call Roy first. Jesus, I can't make them all Roy because I want to say the guy's name. It's so bad. I figured, all right. He says, I was going to call the police, but I figured I would call the owner first. But I'm getting you instead. And I said, yeah, the phone, this line is down in the office. He goes, okay, there's someone on the roof of the building. I said, what? He goes, yes, I can hear them talking up there, and I can hear them walking. I said, are you sure? He goes, yes. He goes, it's happened before, but I definitely hear someone up there talking and walking around. And I said, all right. And he goes, so I don't know whether to call the police. I go, don't call the police. I said, it might be somebody who lives here, and I'll just go up and I'll figure out what's happening, and I'll square it away. He's like, all right, well, here's my phone number. So I take his phone number, and he goes, and here's my cell number. And I take his cell number, and he goes, and here's my apartment in case you can't get me on the phone. And I said, stop giving me information about yourself, old man. You've given me like 2 contact numbers and a door to knock on. I mean, I believe me, let's put it this way. I might just yell, things are all clear from the roof, because obviously you hear what's going on up there. I don't need 9 ways to contact you. But again, that's frightening. That's someone who's scared. Oh, I felt so bad for him, because you just want to hug old people and dogs. You do. You feel bad for him, man. I don't ever want to be that guy who's just scared of life, who's like who orders bland food because he doesn't know how it's going to. And I'm this old man. I told you last week my back is all fucked up. Today, one of the reasons why I was late, I wake up and, dude, this is completely true. It takes me a half hour to get up because I have to lay flat and wait for my back to stop spasming and stretch and do like weird shoulder stretch, and then my legs. I have to actually stretch out to get out of bed because otherwise my back fucking is killing me. Dude, and it's not my lower back. You would think fat guy lower back. No, it's middle back. It's like right under my shoulder blades. And it spasms. I made Karen put her hand on there and feel it. It's just, whatever. I talked about it last week. Folks, I've got nothing in my life. I've done nothing, so there's nothing new to tell you about. Literally, I want to talk about fucking Haiti. I want to talk about that homeless dude who got a fucking job. I want all these different. That's all that's going on. That's it. That's what I got for you, folks. Because I haven't done anything except for save an old man from himself. So he calls me, tells me to go upstairs. So I don't even know how to get on the roof of the building. I've never done it. So part of me figures, well, it's okay. Just sit down here for 10 minutes and then call him and tell him everything's fine. Linda and I were just talking about how nobody does their job right. Nobody. She's got a problem with her sink. The guy comes in and just like literally puts a X Band-Aid over a hole, and she's just waiting for the flood to happen again. But that's how people do it. Nobody fucking does their job. I trace it all to. You ever go to a restaurant and you order toast, and they give you toast and the only butter is like on that splotch right in the middle of the toast? That's it. That's what our society's become. Short order cooks can't even butter fucking toast all the way because everybody's in such a goddamn hurry. Even the guy in the kitchen is like, oh, buttered toast, splat, splat, chop, go, take it. No, butter my fucking toast like you love me. Do it. I don't know what the fuck. Why are you just giving me this cursory fucking splash of a paintbrush or a smear of fucking butter and then put it in dry toast? I don't want dry toast. I ordered fucking buttered goddamn rye toast. Butter my rye toast like you love me, goddammit. Nobody does their job thoroughly. Nobody. So that was the thought that entered my head as I was in the office, and I'm like, I'll fucking duck this crazy old man. No, I got to go up, because honestly, what if there's like a satanic ritual on the roof and I got to break it up? I don't know what's going to happen. Again, as you folks know, I extrapolate quite a bit to where it's like I'll hear somebody whisper, and I'm like, holy shit, there's burglars outside. I mean, like, I don't... Everything to me is I make it larger than it is. I'm Walter Mitty, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that nothing ever happens. But that's okay. That's how it turns out. Whatever. But this time... I head up to the roof, and by head up to the roof, I mean I take the elevator to the third floor, and then I walk to every exit that I know of and try to see if it goes up to the roof. And suffice it to say, there's 8 exits. On the 8th exit, which is the closest one to the office, it goes up to the goddamn roof. I check every other one at the end of the building and go to the other end of the building. I'm walking around, and then finally on the one right in the lobby that I could have just walked up, that goes to the roof. So I get up to the front where the roof is, and there's a door, and it's obviously I've got keys. I've got a big skeleton key thing, and there's a sign that says, "Do not go on the roof. People are instructed to call the building owner or the police if you are on the roof," because it's this warning note, handwritten note, and it says people will hear you walking around. It's very sensitive. So maybe this old man's onto something. So I go outside and I look and I don't see anybody. I don't hear anything. And you got to hop over the banister to get onto the roof, the actual roof. It's all shale or that shake, whatever the fuck it is, like rocks. So I walk around, I'm looking, and I don't see anybody. I walked every corner. And I will say, people have told me that you should go up there on the 4th of July. There's people I know in the building. They're like, oh, you should come over on the 4th of July. We go up on the roof and we watch all the fireworks. Which I'm sure made that old man deathly even more afraid, because literally now he hears 1,000 people on the roof and explosions. He's just like, holy shit, the Krauts have come back for me. This old dude laying there and he's like, I should have never stolen that fucking Panzer helmet. I don't even know if there's a Panzer helmet. Panzer's a tank, right? I don't know what the fuck. Why have I made this old man a Nazi memorabilia collector? This poor old man who's scared of his shadow. So I walk to all corners of the roof. I walk around. Nothing. Nobody there. And which is fine. So I hop the banister. I head back downstairs. Get down to the office. By the time I get to the office, the phone is ringing. And I let myself in. And I answer the phone. And it's this old woman. There's an old woman who I think I've told you called me to fix her smoke alarm once and was wearing nothing, like no clothes. Because, as I've mentioned to you, old people, they don't care anymore. They don't. And then the thought crossed my memory. I'm like, did she call me up here to bone me? Like, am I going to get old boned? I have no idea. This is from year 1, right? I think it's from year 1. I told the story where I got called up and she asked me to fix her smoke alarm, and I walked in and like she had no bra on and was like, I'm and my part of my brain is like, she going to throw me one? I have no idea. And by the way, fix the smoke alarm. You know what that means for me? I detach it from the wall and take the battery out of it. That's what I do. Because I don't know. I can't fix it. It won't stop beeping. She's lucky I didn't hit it with an axe handle. So the phone's ringing, and it's her. She's calling. And she says, hello. as if I'm far away. And I says, yes. And she goes, this is Maggie in, 211, whatever the fuck. And she's like, I just need to tell you, someone's on the roof. And I go, yeah, that was me. Someone else had called and said that there was someone on the roof. And then there's a beep, on the phone, another call. I said, it's okay. I go, it was me walking around. I went up there because someone heard someone on the roof. And she goes, oh, well, I have to question. And I go, hold on, there's another call. And I click over to the other call. And I said, hello? And they go, yes. And it was a different voice, an older person, but I didn't know who it was. And they go, yes, this is Roger in 311. There's someone on the roof. And I said, yes, Roger, that was me. Someone else had called and said there was someone on the roof earlier, so I went to investigate whether there was someone on the roof. And it turns out there's not anybody. He goes, are you certain? And I go, yeah, it's fine. I was just up there. And he goes, well, maybe you should go up to the roof and check. And I said, Roger, I was just on the roof. That's the person you heard on the roof. And he's like, oh, all right, well, I think there's someone still on the roof. I said, no, Roger, there's nobody. I'm like, he's not getting it. And I go, Roger, I have someone on the other line, but I'll tell you, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll investigate, but I'm pretty sure there's nobody on the roof because I was just up there. He's like, all right, well, if you want to call me, you can. My number's downstairs in the folder. And I go, great. And I hang up. And I go back, and there's the older woman, Maggie, and she goes, did you check the roof? And I said, you know what, Maggie, I just came back from the roof, and there was nobody on the, and then I get another call, and I click over, and it's another person, and they said, hey, there's someone on the roof. And it turns out this entire building is, you've heard of Neighborhood Watch? They're Roof Watch. They are Roof Watch because I get, and I'm not exaggerating, 8 phone calls, 8 different phone calls in the next 10 minutes from people telling me to go up and check the roof because somebody's on the roof. I don't know if they think the zombie apocalypse will come from the roof down. I don't know why they are so sensitive to people being on the roof. I mean, it must sound like thundering hoof steps, like the 4 horsemen of the fucking apocalypse had just shown up and decided to stop here in Sherman Oaks and find out, what was going to, and cause famine and pestilence. I don't get it. And look, I'm a fat guy. I understand that I probably leave big footfalls, but these people are listening. 8 people come, and not the original guy. 8 people and not the original scared old man, because he's obviously, he might have seen a bug. I have no idea what happened to him. So I calmed down the entire fucking building and explained to them I was the guy on the roof, and I was up there investigating. It's become a Mobius strip at this point, where I'm trying to explain that I was on the roof investigating who was on the roof, and that was why there was noise on the roof, because I was up there investigating somebody on the roof. I mean, it just won't stop. It's fucking, I'm a hamster in a goddamn wheel explaining to all these old people to calm down. Don't be scared. Nobody's on the roof. All right? I mean, finally, I just wanted to go, look, it was Santa. All right? It was motherfucking Santa Claus. He left something here a month ago. He had to pick it up. All right? He left a wrench. Jesus fuck. Calm down, old people. Go sit down and wait for your life to end. I feel bad for old people. I want to hug them, but at a certain point when you're trying to explain shit to them, Jesus Christ, how did you forget how to use a spoon? Are you joking? Old people. I don't want to get old because of that. To the point I'm not even joking. I've thought, I guess this show is kind of like a living tableau of what I've done or what I will do or what I have done. I actually thought of like leaving, if I have Alzheimer's, like messages saying, this is your wife and this is how you use a fork. Like leaving, like, how Michael Keaton made that movie where he was dying and he made movies of himself for his kid. I'm going to make those movies for myself. So I can look at my own movies in like 30 years when I'm old and I'm forgetting shit and I'm drooling all over myself. I'll go, oh, that's right. That was me in a stripper's house when I used to be funny and interesting. Half of that is right. So I calm these 8 people down, and then I finally call up the other old guy, and because I'm going to tell him that everything's fine. And the phone rings and rings, and finally on the 5th ring he picks it up. Oh, I said, "Hey, Roy, it's Mike downstairs." "Oh, is there a problem?" I said, "No, I was just calling to tell you that there was nobody on the roof." He goes, "There's someone on the roof?" And I said, "No, you called me because you thought there was someone on the roof." And he goes, "I did?"
Oh, no.
And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, Why you calling so late? I said, nothing. No reason. Sorry to bother you. Wrong number. And he goes, oh, wrong number? And I said, yeah. All right, thanks. He goes, thanks. And he just hangs up the phone. This guy, he had no fucking idea that he'd called me. 15 minutes had passed. He'd fallen asleep. I'm just praying to God there wasn't like a bowl of malto meal in front of him because he would have drowned in it. He would have absolutely drowned. He was also, this guy, that's what being old person is. Going from scared to death to sound asleep in 15 minutes. That's it. Oh my God, we're all going to die. Hey, this chair sure is comfortable.
Hi, I'm terrestrial radio kingpin Brian Noonan. Wow, that's a mouthful. You're listening to the 40-Year-Old Boy on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network. I work the road a lot with Mike, and his podcast isn't much different from his act. There's still only one person laughing. God bless you, Lily.
You're listening to the 40-Year-Old Boy, and later, try to decipher the word pizza that is Kankakee Somersault Zipper Flu, the Gibberish Podcast.
Super Molehill Cocoa Pants.
Underwear Love Splotch.
Winky Cindy Poppin' Wash.
Wembley Hoop Hop.
Alabama Nonsense Handycam.
Nigel Swart Santana Wilson.
Arch Lip Occidental Quarterback. Yellow Splits.
Thought about a work boot.
Victory Custard Nap Wiggle Woggle.
Each fleece working wasp toodaloo.
Good luck making sense of Kankakee Somersault Zipper Flu, the Gibberish Podcast, only on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
Spackle.
By the way, all of this ripping of old people is brought to you by tweakedaudio.com/40. Inventors of earbuds for young people. That's actually their slogan. If you go to their website, tweakedaudio.com/40, fuck you, old people. Because old people, they're like, look, old people may have hearing aids in one ear anyway. They're not for us. We don't make products for those motherfuckers. You know what? Actually, tweakedaudio.com/40 should get right on it, and they should make an earbud with just one earbud. Like, you know how, like, a monocle is like a monocle and it hangs? Just have one earbud for old people. Because then they got the hearing aid in one ear, and then boom, they're listening to music in the other. God damn it, that's a perfect plan. Hey, Bruce at tweakedaudio.com/40, get on it, motherfucker. What are you doing listening to this goddamn show? Why aren't you inventing shit for deaf people? God damn it, I invented it all. Or not deaf people, old people. Yeah, well, old people, deaf people. Earbuds for deaf people, that makes no sense, right?
Not really.
You'd have to make them they'd have to look really good. Honestly, because then old people could look at them like they were jewelry. They'd be attractive. You know what? If you're gonna make deaf people earbuds, they'd have to look really. How great are your earbuds? That's how great the earbuds are at tweakedaudio.com/40. Deaf people buy them just because they look great. Deaf people can't hear fucking music. They don't give a shit. They wear the earbuds just because they look good. Oh my God. Earbuds from tweakedaudio.com/40. They're jewelry. That's what they are. They're jewelry that happen to bring you fine music. They're like the Tiffany of earbuds. tweakedaudio.com/40. Even deaf people wear them just because they look great. Oh, that's fantastic. I did that as a kid. I mentioned that on here. Did I mention that? That I wanted glasses so bad because they were like jewelry? I don't know why I wanted glasses. When I was a little kid, I had to go for an eye test. They're like, hey, you got to go for an eye test. I'm like, what do you mean? I can see. Oh, okay. You know, I was a little kid. And they're like, no, it's just routine. You go and read this little chart or whatever. And I said, well, do I get glasses? They said, well, it depends. They'll tell you if you get glasses. And I really wanted glasses. Like, I mean, I don't know why I wanted them so badly, but I really wanted glasses. Because, you know why? Because I thought it made me look like a grown-up. Like, I thought it would make me an adult to wear glasses. So I faked the eye chart. I went to the doctor. I might have been 10. And I just fucked it up, like, from the jump. I mean, like, you know, I might have said there was an ampersand and a Q. I mean, it was like, because we all know it's EFPTOZ is those top two lines. I think I even botched those. I think I might have seen the E, and then I was like, I can't pull anything else for you. And they're like, what? And so I did it. I jaked the eye chart, man, just to get fucking glasses. So here's what happened. 10 years old, bifocals. That's right. Old people, grandpa glasses, bifocals, thick motherfucking, you know. I was excited. I went to pick out the frames, and I was like, oh, let's do this and that. And then when they actually handed them to me, they weren't cool or good looking, and I didn't look good in them at all, certainly. It was just a superhero thing where I wanted to be able to take glasses off and be somebody else. Well, fuck. They give me these glasses. It took two people to lift them onto my head. Because I'd fucked the eye chart up so bad. They had these lenses, and the bifocal part, it was just, I mean, dude, bifocals, 10 years old. I'm surprised they didn't just declare me fucking legally blind. Like that dude I drove home. By the way, Suzanne from Philadelphia wrote me, and she said, "Hey, she goes, I'm legally blind too." And because I talked about James, who was legally blind, she said, "I'm legally blind too." And I wanted to tell you, here's something in Philly, they call a guy who's blind a blink. How awesome is that? That dude's a fucking blink. And I love the fact that an entire city has decided to slander the handicapped. Fuck that guy. He's a blink. God damn, that's perfect. Ah. So I should finish this, folks. So Karen was. I couldn't even figure out why I wasn't getting the call because again, I'm Johnny on the spot. As you see, I go to the roof. I take care of business. So I'm in the office again last night, and my cell phone rings, and I see the number, and I don't really recognize it. Pick it up. It's the owner of the building. Hey, Mike. I just want to tell you something. There's a problem. Your wife keeps calling here in the middle of the night, and you need to get her to stop doing that. And, folks, we all know that I don't do very well with authority, right? I'm in this job because I need money, which is fine, but the second there starts to be like a boss, that's going to be bad for all involved. So he starts to lecture me and tell me that it's a place of business and I shouldn't be getting personal phone calls at night on the business line. And that's why he transferred the calls up. And I guess what it was there's somebody in the office during the day, and then when that person leaves at 5, they transfer the calls to his apartment so he can rent apartments or do whatever he wants for people. And then he's basically, the bottom line is he's forgetting to take off the call transfer. And so that's why he got a phone call at 1 in the morning. And he said Karen called him again. And I go, dude, Karen did not call you. She just called me on my cell phone. I know that she didn't call you. He goes, well, someone just called here, and then they hung up, and I'm pretty sure it was Karen. And I go, look, it wouldn't be Karen because she, we just talked on the cell phone. He goes, well, regardless, you shouldn't be getting personal phone calls here. It's a business line. And I just, again, I understand it. Okay, it's a job and it's a place of business. But I just hate so much being told what to do that I didn't argue with him. I just let him talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and fucking talk and explain why I shouldn't be getting phone calls and da-da-da and all this different stuff. And I wanted to argue and just go, dude, but part of me is just like, fine. I hope old people call you in the middle of the night and make you go up on the goddamn roof. So he lectures me for 10 minutes. And I'm not kidding. 10 minutes about how I shouldn't be getting personal phone calls on the business line. And then at the end of the 10 minutes, he tells me how to take off the call forwarding. So when I get to work, he doesn't have to deal with the phone calls anymore. Like, it's weird. It's like he set a trap. I don't even know what the point of it was. I mean, just take off the call forwarding. I'm not good with bosses. I'm not kidding. I've sat in many a meeting with the guys at tweakedaudio.com/40, and so far they've been really cool and let me do what I want. But the second they start telling me, "Hey, Mike, you got to wear a tie," fuck that. as I've mentioned in previous weeks. Not that they would give me those rules. I don't think they would. Who knows? They should be busy in R&D inventing shit for the deaf. All right. Amazing gold-plated fucking beautiful earbuds from tweakedaudio.com/40. Not even worth the music. Better than the music you would listen to. All right. Don't mock. So I don't know. I hope they don't start bossing me around. That would be terrible. And then I get home the next day and I told Karen, I go, oh, dude, you're not going to believe this. I go, I finally talked to the guy who owns the building and he said that you called the other day. And then he said you called last night, but I told him that it was ridiculous because you called me on the cell phone. And she goes, well, it was an accident.
Oh, no.
I said, what? She goes, well, yeah, because that number's in my phone and I accidentally hit it. I hung up right away. It only rang once. I go, yeah, it only rang once at 1 in the morning in the house of a 55-year-old guy who's asleep.
Oh, no.
And she's like, yeah. I go, so you did call him last night? She goes, yeah. And I go, oh. I said, I told him like 10 times that you would have never called twice. I said, you called once, you would never make the mistake a second time. She's like, sorry. Now you got something to talk about in your podcast. That's her go-to thing, no matter what, any mistake ever that is made. Now you got something to talk about in your podcast. Thanks, son. I'm glad that you're tripping through life just so I have content. What? Oh, man. Hold on. My ears are cutting in and out. That's not good. I have very professional headphones, folks, but they're cutting in and out right now. I couldn't hear anything. Hey, let me tell you a little something about editing, folks. Here's the magic of editing. All of the stuff you've heard before this part of the show was like 3 hours ago. I remember me bitching about how I was late for a show, and oh my God, I got to really hurry up. Yeah, turns out I couldn't hurry up so much. And so we had to stop, and I had to actually go do the show and come back here and record the rest of this show. So right now it's 10:35. So synchronize your watches. I don't know what that information does for you folks. It gives me something to talk about because, hey, guess what? I did stuff. So I actually have things to talk about now that fill in the blanks. After what, 35 minutes? Yes, now I finally have something to talk about. I am a fucking idiot, folks. I went and did my show. I was just at the Harlem Place Cafe, which very nice people, and it was very close to Urban Noodle and Rocket Pizza, as I was instructed, almost next door. It was in downtown Los Angeles, which I will tell you, folks. Have you ever seen the show The Walking Dead? Okay, imagine if somehow the zombies, instead of eating brains, all they did was yell at you when you walked past. And they shared the city with nothing but wool cap wearing hipsters. That's downtown Los Angeles. It is just angry homeless people screaming at hipsters. That is fucking downtown Los Angeles to a T. I would fit in perfectly, quite frankly. But and I'm on stage, so I'm on stage. And a guy walks in a wool cap, and I make fun of him, of course, because why? Why wouldn't I? And then you realize the entire room is a wool cap. What the fuck? How do I make fun of wool cap in a room full of wool caps? I'm the only non-wool cap there. Ugh. So I walk into this place to do a show at the Harlem Place Cafe, and it was down an alleyway. It's a restaurant in an alley. That's great. I said this on stage. I go, no, thank you for putting a restaurant at the end of an alley, because normally I would come down in this dark, dank area and just find a dumpster. And I would be like, I'm hungry, but only a dumpster is here. Wow. Instead, I can take 3 steps inside and drink coffee out of a chipped mug. Why wouldn't I do that? Oh, my God. What? And this place is all like exposed piping and like fur, like that dirty girders. And I actually said, I've achieved my goal to do a show in Jamie Gumm's basement. I'm excited. If somehow I'm interrupted by Catherine Martin screaming from a well, somebody please help her out. But again, they laughed. I did really good. So as you can tell, because I'm happy. If I had tanked, man, the rest of the show would fucking blow. Not that the beginning was any fucking great shakes, but I walked in and Rye was there, nice man. Rye, I've never met Rye. Rye is a guy who listens to the show and said, "Hey, dude, we book a show. You want to come do it?" I said, "Sure," because nobody else is ringing my phone off the goddamn hook. And he sent me an email. So guess what? Even Rye's not ringing my phone off the goddamn hook. Take that. And I showed up there, and Rye was very nice. He came. I guess I must give the portrayal that I am feeble. Which I mentioned earlier. I don't want to get old and scary. Oh, man, I don't want to. It's funny. I have to drive past the Hollywood Bowl to get here to Lily's house. And I just got an email. They want me to buy tickets for Rod Stewart and Stevie Nicks at the Hollywood Bowl. And does Rod Stewart not own a couch? I mean, why are you out touring? What? You're 1,000 years old. I think he's 70 years old, and he has like a 5-year-old son. And I guess it's smart to go on the road so your 5-year-old son doesn't ask you to play catch, then you snap your elbow off. I mean, it's not like you can do anything with these kids except sit there and go, literally, you're an inheritance of pajamas. That's all you are. That's what Rod Stewart is. To his 5-year-old son, he's an inheritance in pajamas. That's all he is. Oh, fuck. And he's touring. Why would you tour? Who sees him? Who goes and sees Rod Stewart? And full disclosure, I saw Rod Stewart like 2 years ago. All right, so... Which is fine, but I wanted to see him because he wasn't going to do that fucking American Songbook bullshit. I don't get that. Why does everybody get over the age of 60 and they decide, you know what, I'm going to cut an album with the national anthem on it? Nobody wants to hear that from you. Sing Maggie May 100 times and leave. That's preferable to you singing some torch song in my face. Whose panties are getting wet over that? Nobody's, because these ladies are fucking, they got dust coming out of their pussy, for God's sakes. Anybody the age to remember those fucking songs? Rod, you're not doing it for them. I got news for you. That gravelly voice. How bad's that? How gravelly is that voice now? By the way, if you buy earbuds from tweakedaudio.com/40, Rod Stewart's voice, not gravelly at all. even on his old songs. Smooth as fucking half and half. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I would get those audio earbuds from tweakedaudio.com/40 just to hear what Rod Stewart sounds like when he can sing. Stop touring. And Stevie Nicks, her Coke bill looks like the Magna Carta at this point. Just like this, got to roll it out. Oh, terrible. All right. Is the Magna Carta a scroll? I don't know. That's what popped into my head. So I go to do this show at Harlem Place, and again, I probably give the image that I am a feeble old man, because I come walking down the alley, and Rye walks out of the club, and he's like, "Hey!" He's waving. I want to go, dude. It's the only club in the alley. I mean, did you think I was going to make a left-hand turn and play? What I'm playing for Oscar and Stinky and his garbage can? I don't think so. Wasn't Stinky his worm? Who was Oscar's worm? Stinky? I think it was. Huh? No, I believe it was Stinky. Google it. Yes, Google it. I'm pretty sure it was Stinky. Ozzy. Ozzy lives in a garbage can. No, Oscar. Oscar the Grouch lived in a garbage can, and his worm was named Stinky. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. What do I know, folks? I'm one of the few adults in the world who don't think the Muppets are charming. They're making a Muppet movie, and Jason Segel is like, everybody I know wanted to be in it. They all wanted to be in it. And I'm just like, I don't. Why? He says, I could talk to clothes at my house. That made me laugh. All right. And not that I dislike the Muppets. Please don't let me go on record as being a guy who dislikes the Muppets. I find the Muppets enjoyable, but I will tell you that I don't. Slimy. Very close. Very close to Stinky. Stinky was his girlfriend, of course. That's why I got mixed up. Stinky was a monkey. Did I ever tell that story on here? I had to, right? When I went on the road, me and Mike Toomey, we met the racist DJ. Oh, dude, all right. That's enough. You know what? Fuck it. I'm telling you another time. I'm cramming too much shit in here. I didn't have any show, and all of a sudden I just can't stop fucking talking like an idiot. Write that down. Write down, just so I remember to do it another time, please. Will you remember? You won't.
Stinky the racist monkey.
Something like that. Yeah, very close. Something. You're not even paying attention at this point. God damn it. She's mad because I was whispering at her earlier when she before she started this. When I got back from the comedy show, she was bossing me around. So I started whispering so she couldn't hear what I was saying to pretend like I was saying mean stuff. And she's just like, "What are you saying?" And I was like, "I'll find you the fucking boss. I guess you're in charge of this whole thing." And she's like, "What? What are you saying?" And she gave me a mean look. And she gave me like 4 mean looks. And then I had to shut up. So she's still mad. She's holding a grudge. She's begrudging me. She's holding a grudge. Holding a pen. I gave her my heart. She gave me that pen. So what was I talking about? Being old. Oh, so I go out down. And Rye he flags me down like I'm landing a plane in the alley. And I take a hard right turn into this club, and holy God, it's like a basement. It's just like all exposed pipes and girders and vent systems and I'm, I have no confidence in my stand-up at this point, that's something I need. You know what I mean? And tonight's show was a good start because I did really well. I'll get to that in a second. But I need like ballsy, weird confidence, like because you've seen guys who don't deserve that kind of confidence, but they walk around like they're the fucking king of the world. Why don't I have that? Why can't I walk around like a big asshole? I mean, I do, but I mean like an asshole who thinks he can accomplish something. All right, let's do that. Because then all right, well, I'll come back to that thought. So I go to do the show. I walk in, and there's only like 10 people there. And I'm like, oh, well, that's okay. At least I bomb in front of the least amount of people as possible, because that's where my mindset is now with my stand-up. And a friend of the show, Jeffrey Lobb, was there from the Uncle Jeff and Kevin with a K podcast. They've had me on and introduced me. And you know what? They introduced me and interviewed me. But Jeffrey shows up and oh my, I have to say this, and he's going to hate me. I don't care. Jeff, I love you. You're a nice guy. I think it was a date. And let me tell you, they will never go out again.
Oh, no.
Because she hated every second of literally every millisecond of every second of every minute in this place. She sat there with this mean face, like she was so unhappy. I could see it in her, and I actually apologized after my set. I went up and I go, I'm very sorry you had to sit through that, Lauren. Nice to meet you. I'm saying her name for no reason. But she just looked like she was not enjoying herself, man. And she looked like she's a beautiful girl but oh my God, looked like if they had silverware, she would have used it for something it was not intended for. I mean, she would have gone fucking Manson family on everybody and carved Y in all our stomachs with a fork. It would have been horrible. Although that's actually not the Manson family. The Manson family carved war into the LaBianca families. But Eva Kripe, who I went to high school with, carved Y into her arm with a fork. There you go, Eva. That's a shout out. She was like this burnout chick would wear like Iron Maiden shirts and stuff, and she actually carved the word Y into her arm. She was a cutter, obviously. Not even a cutter. She was a forker. You got to really hate yourself at that point. Like if you want to cut yourself, get a knife or a razor. At least do the job in a fashionable way. Fuck that. She went 4-tying on her goddamn forearm and carved in the word Y. Because then it scabbed over, and you could see that it said Y in a scab. It was just, oh man, it was grim. Eva Kripe. All right, so I say the name a second time in case you want to Facebook her and see how her arm is. Stupid. All right. Jeffrey's there, and I say hello to him, and I say hello to Lauren. And the thing is, when I walk in the door with Rye, they have an opening act for their show to like kind of address the fact that there's going to be a show to transfer from restaurant into showroom. And they had some guy goes up with an electric guitar, and he plays girl band songs. He covers them by himself. He can't just go up and do a couple of numbers. No, it has to be some ironic twist on performing music in a fucking public place. And look, God bless him. He's a good singer, cute kid, wonderful guitar player. But I just didn't get it. He's just yowling loudly in a room. Really? Oh man. Folks, alert the affiliates. I thought this show would be to bed by now. And holy shit, I haven't even gotten where I wanted to go. Oh man. All right. I gotta pick up the pace. See, this is the problem. I showed up here today, folks, with nothing. I had nothing to talk about. I'm like, I got zero, and I should have never broke and done. I should just tell this story next week, and then tell that story. God, dudes, I keep thinking I'm running out of steam, and then I show up and I talk for fucking hours. Why? All right, so you don't care. Why do you care about this fucking nonsense in my brain? So he goes up and he does his thing, and wonderful, good for him. And then the comedy show starts. They introduced me to the other guys who booked the room, Anthony and Tony. They were nice guys. And they said, you're going to be fourth. And I said, all right. So I saw their list. And I looked down at the list, and I see a name. And I'm like, there's obviously somebody who shares that name, because that person wouldn't be here doing stand-up comedy. That doesn't make any sense. So I didn't think of it. I didn't think twice about it. So I was like, well, that's a lie. I thought twice about it. I thought twice about it, of course, but I didn't think a third time. So they had their clipboard, and they're writing names and stuff. And so I go into the back, and I'm talking to Rye. Rye's a nice guy. Turns out Rye, like I said, he's been a listener since Never Not Funny, the first episode. And so he's like, I'm familiar with what you do. Good, that's great. So I was waiting to go on. And I walk over to the front to watch one or two of the comedians. They brought up, a guy went up and he was a comedian. Then a woman went up. First, Rye went up and emceed, and then he brought up people. I'm standing by the bar, and by Anthony, who books it with his clipboard. And there's a guy sitting at the bar who looks like a friend of mine. I have a friend named Chris Bono, who's a comic, who's a very funny guy. And I look and I go, is that Chris Bono? Because I'm only seeing him about 1/3 of his face. And he turns around and he looks at me, and I recognize him immediately. And it's the name that they wrote on the clipboard. It's him. And I'm like, why the fuck is this guy? Because again, folks, I'm waiting to bomb in front of 10 people. I don't need famous guy whose work I really admire to be in the room when that happens. Because then, I don't know if I have any other chances to impress him, but this will certainly be the first. And I don't need to fucking chew it in front of this guy. But he looks at me, and he holds my glance, all right? And I kind of look away, and I'm looking at the clipboard, and he looks at me, and I'm standing close to him because I have to talk to someone who's standing next to him, okay? But he's used to people standing there waiting to tell him how great he is. That's the thing. So he's waiting for me to say something, and I'm not going to say anything to Dave Foley of Kids in the Hall. He's sitting there, but he's waiting. You can see he keeps looking at me like, "Are you going to talk to me?" Because it's that preemptive thing where he's waiting to go. Oh, thank you, but I'm not going to talk to him because I don't know him, and the last thing I want to do is introduce myself and then go fucking chew it. So instead, I say what I have to say to Anthony, and I walk off. And Dave's having a beer at the bar, and he's waiting. He's doing stand up. I didn't even know he was a stand up. All right, but he's going up. He's doing a set, and I go in the back of the room and go, great. I can't wait to go ahead and fail in front of Dave Foley. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about. I have no idea. Because I had planned on doing this through the 10 minutes. All right, especially with only 10 people, I was just going to half-ass it and blaze through and not even think twice about it. But now in my head, I'm like, I got to do good. Like I actually need to do jokes, and I need to have some sort of. But I mean, this is what I do now, though. That's the problem. You know what I mean? I could tell normal jokes, but I also have this. This is what I want to do, and I want to tell stories. But 10 people listening to one long story. And I should tell you, it's crazy fucking loud in this bar because in the front, there's the 10 people watching comedy, and the people who didn't want to watch comedy all went to the back to talk and go on their computers and drink coffee. And then the ventilating system, I think Bruce Willis was snaking through it from Die Hard, trying to go ahead and shoot Alexander Goodenough and steal somebody's shoes because holy shit was it loud. It was just this banging noise. And fans, there were these loud industrial fans, dude, it was fucking terrible. So to the point where I didn't think anybody was laughing at all during the entire show, but then I would come closer and I would hear people laughing. It's just that I couldn't hear them over, fucking Alan Rickman telling everybody to shoot the glass. So I'm waiting and waiting. You don't have to, please don't pretend that you enjoy this. I'm sure you do. That's fantastic. You don't have to pretend. The home listener can go ahead and discern the Die Hard references for themselves. Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun. All right, so I'm waiting to go on stage, and the next people finish, and I go on stage, and I basically, because he came up to me beforehand, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we're glad that you're here." Da da da. It's usually there's more people here, and that thing where he doesn't know me, so he's trying to explain that usually the room is better. And I'm like, "Don't worry about it, dude. I've played in a lot of rooms like this. Hated every second of it, but I still played in these rooms." And I said to him, and I go, "That's fine." I go, "But I'm really going to make fun of this place like a lot." And he goes, "Yeah, go ahead. I know what you do." I said, "All right, good." So I went up on stage, and I did. I carpet bombed the joint. I did the Jamie Gumb thing, and I said, and it was funny. I said, "Look, folks, there's only one reason they do comedy in this room. There's only one reason they have music in this room. There's only one reason there's a stage in this room, and that's because they got a B." Because they had a B from the health department in the window. I said, because nobody in their right mind is going, "Hey, let's go to that restaurant down the alley that got a B and have a sandwich." No one's eating. People come here maybe to listen to music and maybe to see comedy, and incidentally, they might have a salad from the Grimes Center in the back that got a goddamn B. I'm waiting for a roach in a chef's hat to come out and serve this fucking thing. But I'm doing well. I'm getting laughs. Things are going well. People are enjoying it. And then I talked a little about American Idol. Did this. I did stuff, and then I told the story of AIDS patient in a barrel, an AIDS patient hiding in a barrel. I told that story, and it did okay. And then what I did well. I did. I killed it. Quite frankly, did really well, and came off stage, walked over to Jeffrey, shook his hand, walked over to his date, and went, "I'm sorry." And she made a face like, "You better be." And I walked off. I honestly thought it was Eric's wife. That's how much this woman hated the show. But I don't blame her. It's like this. It was this loud thing of comedy, and if you're not into comedy, let's put it this way: if you're in that room, you're either into comedy or you're in the eating garbage in an alley. I mean, this woman was very attractive. I got to assume that she opted for comedy because she didn't want to go. You know what? I enjoyed shoe soup. You know what I mean? No thanks. It was grim. So I go in the back, and Dave Foley comes up to me, and he goes, "Hey, you were really funny." And I'm like, "Oh, you're so nice." I go, I'm a huge fan. I really love your work. And shook his hand. Did not give him the "I love your work" hug, which everyone is familiar of. Everyone is familiar with me giving you the "I love your work." But instead, I shook his hand, and I said, "Thanks, man. I'm really a fan of what you do. I really love your work." Because I do, man. Kids in the Hall, fantastic, unbelievable. And he was like, "Oh, well, thank you. You're so nice." And I was going to leave right when I was finished. But I can't leave before I see Dave. I mean, I got to see what he does. I didn't even know he did stand-up. So there was a person on after me. It was actually Anthony and Tony, the guys who run the joint. They went up and did their thing, which was great. And then I was waiting for Dave, who went up after them. And he did a longer set. He wound up he probably did 15, but it might have been a little longer. And he doesn't do stand-up. He says it right away. He goes, "I don't do stand-up. I'm starting to do stand-up. This is me learning it." And then he told some stories, and he's got it. I mean, you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like he's a one-man show guy. Like that's a guy you would see in a theater tell stories for an hour and just go, "Yep, Yeah, absolutely. What? You don't think so? Sort of. You know what I mean? But he's got real stories about Hollywood and people. You know what I mean? I got stories about me getting scared by a wombat, whatever the fuck. So believe me. And if you've heard me scared by one wombat, you've heard me scared by all wombats. Dave Foley actually went out drinking with Uma Thurman when she was 19. He told that story tonight. I'm like, that's great. I one time almost banged a chick in Iowa. Did I mention that story ever? I got chicked by a woman in Iowa. She kicked me out of her room after I went down on her. Have I told that story? I think I have. Terrible. Walking down the fucking hallway trying to hide my fucking heart on. All right, so I watched Dave Foley, and I should tell you there was another guy there to see me, a guy named Adam, who's a nice guy. Adam has shown what? I'm not going to say Adam's name. I don't want to say anybody's name. I barely said Dave Foley's last name. I don't know if he even wants it on here. Adam's a nice guy. Adam's a guy who has he has written me regarding my show. Let's put it this way. I don't want to get into it, but Adam's a nice guy, and he was there. He actually is my first time meeting him. He and I have exchanged like 1,000 emails. So he just moved back from New York, so it was nice to see him. But then I felt so bad because I had told him that I was going to hang out, and I had planned on it until I got here and got fucking mental block and couldn't finish the goddamn show, which meant that I had to finish and get the hell out of there and come here and do this and talk in circles. Because now I can't finish the show, but it's for a completely different reason, because I can't stop talking. Because I'm telling a story that I should have saved. Because that's what I do, folks. Because my show is a goddamn sausage full to bursting with flavor. But unfortunately, I should parse that sausage out over certain weeks. Instead of making one giant fat sausage, I should make a links. I should make a bunch of links of sausage. Instead of one giant mega sausage that fucking ruins everybody's day. Ah, oh, damn it. My show's too fat of a sausage. I need to fucking twist it into links. All right. So, I left. I got in the car and bailed. I dodged every fucking. I walked out. Sure enough, homeless guy yelling. Not even kidding, folks. Yelling right at me as I walked up the alley. And but this often happens. I will tell you. You know, homeless people are crazy. Not all of them are dangerous, but most of them are crazy. So they will yell at me or say something from a distance. But then as I get closer, I'm kind of a big dude, and then they skulk off because they realize they haven't had calcium in 4 years. So they're like, I better not throw down with this dude because he can crack my hip with a stare, which is probably true. Take that, homeless people. I know you're listening to me. And I know you're listening to me because part of my deal with tweakedaudio.com/40 is we give out earbuds to the homeless for free. That's what I like to do. They don't have any iPods, but I like to give them the earbuds because, again, especially, as I've mentioned, folks, they just look good. They look good on a homeless dude. They look good on a deaf dude. I don't care who wants them. Doesn't matter if you have music in your life. Just fucking wear them, folks. Jam them into your ears and look good. Look great. Not even good. I bypass good and go right to great. I leave good in the far right lane, and I pass in the far left lane. I'm in the carpool lane of great. With the good-looking earbuds of tweakedaudio.com/40. 4-0. So I wound up leaving. I ran up the alley, avoided a homeless guy, dodged 3 hipsters who wanted to bum a cigarette. They bum more cigarettes than the homeless. And then I hop into my car and I bailed. I got here. I got back. And then I tortured you guys to death with that story that I should have saved. When I should be home right now watching American Idol. God damn it. Yeah, that's right. I asked Karen. I actually said, are we finished with American Idol? Are we out? Are we done? Because I like Simon. That's the thing I liked about American Idol more than anything. I liked Simon because he made me laugh because he was such a cock. And Karen's like, no, we're going to watch it. I said, all right, I guess. I mean, if that's what we're going to do, we're going to watch it. And we'll watch that, and then we'll watch that fucking money drop show. I'm not tabling that. That's stupid. Is that a couple back on yet, or are they back on? The people who lost but then won or whatever? See, that's amazing that they were able to fucking skulk into a second chance. Look, I like the internet, but there are times that I hate the fucking internet because the internet, they help you and then they turn on you like in a second. Like those people. All right, they got a question right, or it might not have been right, whatever. They got eliminated and they lost $800,000. So the internet freaked out because they said, oh, they were right. And now they're going to go back on the show and try to win again. And you know that those people are like, oh, my God, they get to go back on and win again? Fuck that. That's ridiculous. Like, because people get angry. They all have a cause for like a second, and then it ends, and then they're like, fuck that cause. It's like the homeless dude we talked about who got the job. They found this homeless dude. They go, hey, you got a great voice. Here's a job. 2 days later, guy's in rehab, and everybody makes fun of him. I mean, that might be the quickest turnaround I ever saw. And those people are getting back in the game show. They're lucky, man, because they don't put people back on fucking game shows. You lose, you fucking lose. Take it from a guy who's been on fucking 5 game shows. I talked about him on here. I talked about the fucking Ultimate Fan League that I dominated,
Yeah.
and then I talked about My Generation, which I dominated. Did I talk about Greed on here? Did I mention when I was on Greed? I think I talked about. I can't remember if I talked about. Sometimes I talk about stuff on Never Not Funny, and I don't know if I talked about it on here or on Never Not Funny or on both. I'll tell you about Greed, folks, and you know what? If you've heard this before, that's okay. You've already had an hour of entertainment up to this point, so feel free to turn it off. And by hour of entertainment, I am mispronouncing 15 minutes. All right, so and that might even be high. I got to be honest. So I did the show Greed. There was a show called Greed, which is a lot like this show that's on now, this $1 million movie drop. I don't know what the fuck it's called. But Greed was a show where you would go on and they would group you into teams of, I think it was 6. And one person was the captain, and then there was 5 people sitting at podiums waiting to be, they would each get a question, and then the captain could either change your answer or keep your answer, and you accumulated money for every correct answer. And then the host was the star of Screen and Screen, because I don't know if he's ever been on stage, Chuck Woolery. Gigantic watch, back in 2 and 2, Chuck Woolery. Former host of the Wheel of Fortune when I was a child. I knew him from Wheel of Fortune as a child, folks. I knew him before he was trying to get whores to bang dudes on that other fucking show. That's right. I mispronounced Love Connection by making it a whorehouse. Who cares? But then he winds up on Greed, and I mean, I'm like excited to find out. So I try out for Greed, okay, and I will tell you, when I used to go try out for game shows, they would fall in love with me immediately because I was charming and funny. And I understood that you had to do those things in order to get on television. I didn't try to, just be a brainiac and answer questions. But that was the thing, is I combined all of the best personality with the fucking mind of I don't want to say Stephen Hawking because that's far too important. I had just a mind full of useless garbage. Like, the sports show was ideal for me because I just kicked the fuck out of it, and I was charming and funny and like crazy over the top sports guy. But on these other shows, I had some general knowledge that I could bring to the table too, like movies and pop culture and stuff. So you add that with a personality. These people are like, we can't wait to get this guy on television. So I go and try out for the first Greed, and they say, you know what? If you guys are picked, we'll give you a call in a couple of weeks. Tapings start. We're pretty sure at the end of this month, but we're still juggling the schedule. If it's a go, we'll find out. But Chuck Woolery will be the host if we do the show. And I said, okay. And we go to leave, and they stop me. They go, wait, we need you to stay. And I said, all right. So I come back, and they go, we're going to bring a different set of people in, and we want you to play the game with them to see how they react to you. So now I'm patient zero of Greed. I'm like, I'm the barometer that everybody else must pass in order to get on the show. So they keep me, and I play a second round with these people, and I'm funny, and I'm me, and I have a good time. And they dismiss that group, and they pull me aside. They go, okay, look, if it is a go, it's going to be the end of the month, and we're probably going to use you. We're just letting you know that now. I said, okay. They go, well, we can't just, network sees, because you have to deal with contestant coordinators first. And they're the people who see you, and then they recommend you to network, and then network passes on who gets picked and who doesn't. So I leave, go home. I tell Karen it went well, and I just wait. A couple weeks go by. I not really forgot about it, but I'm not really that concerned with it. If it happens, it happens, because this is after my previous shows where I've been called, and so I know how it works. So I have to go out of town to do stand-up. Like 3 weeks later, I'm going to Chicago. So I'm going to play the Funny Bone in Chicago. And I fly out of town on Wednesday, I think it was. And I do a show Wednesday night, and I'm staying in a hotel. The show's at the Radisson, and I'm staying in the Radisson doing shows downstairs, staying in a room upstairs. Thursday during the day, I get a call from Karen. Oh, my God. I go, what? She said, they called from the game show. I said, really? She says, yeah, they want you there tomorrow. I said, you are kidding me. She goes, no, they said they have Friday tapings. They left a message on the machine. I said, did they leave a number? She said, yeah, I took it. I said, okay, I'll call them. So, again, this is Thursday morning. I call them up, and I get a producer on the phone. And he says, yeah, we want you in for tomorrow's taping. I said, well, I'm in Chicago. And he said, oh, okay. He goes, when will we be back? I said, I'm actually here for 2 weeks because I was doing stand-up for two separate weeks. He goes, oh, okay. He goes, that's not good because we're taping through the weekend, and then we're not sure when we're taping again or even if we're taping again. We're kind of, and we really wanted to have you in the first batch of shows. I said, okay. I definitely can't make it tomorrow. I mean, are you saying that if I don't get there this weekend, I won't be on the show? He goes, well, we don't know if there will be a show after this, is what I'm saying. We really wanted you to be here this weekend. If there's any way you can be here, we want you here. I said, yeah, but I'm in Chicago for 2 weeks. Are you taping? He goes, well, I can't guarantee anything. If you're not here, then you might not be on. I said, okay, let me see what I can do. So I called the club owner. It was a friend of mine, Bert. And I said, hey, I got a call to go back and be on a show. I said, it's only a game show, but they're pretty much guaranteeing me that I'll be on. And it's a chance for me to win pretty big money, and they really want me to be on. And he says, well, when do you got to go? I said, honestly, I'd have to leave tonight. And I would miss tonight's shows and tomorrow, and I would hopefully be back by Saturday. And he said, oh. He goes, all right. He goes, if you got to do it, you got to do it. We'll figure it out. We'll fill in. We'll get somebody who can, cover your thing, and that's fine. He goes, are you checking out of the hotel? And I go, well, I was going to come back to work next week. He goes, all right. He goes, then don't check out of the hotel. He goes, it's fine. Just keep your room, and when you come back, you'll be fine. So again, it helps that Bert was a friend. If he was a guy I didn't know, the club owner just basically says, yeah, take the next 2 weeks off. And I mean, probably doesn't even pay me for the Wednesday show. So I said, great. I immediately get it in the phone, and I have to figure out a way to get home. I call the airlines, and they're very accommodating. They understand exactly what's going on, and they only charge me $135 to switch my ticket, which is great of them. Thank you. So I have to switch my ticket that I would have been leaving in 2 weeks to leave the next day. And they also scolded me. They acted like $135, they were doing me a favor. Because they were like, oh, in 1 day, the turnaround time, it's almost like $400, the fare. And I'm like, why? You have empty seats on the plane. I found them on the computer. What are you doing? Because this is in the old days when you couldn't just book stuff. You had to talk to people on the goddamn phone. Unbelievable. So I finally make arrangements to leave Thursday night and fly home. And I call the producer and I tell him, look, I'll be there tomorrow. And he goes, great, your call time is 9 a.m. So I fly home on a red eye Thursday. I get home to Chicago or to L.A. I go home, sleep, get up, shower, go right to the studio. I walk in, and it was very important that they have me. By the way, I need to mention that to you. They said that to me. Well, it's really important that you're here. We really wanted to have you on the early shows. I walk into this studio. There's got to be 150 contestants in the back. And I'm looking around, and they're all waiting in line to sign in, and then there's a bullpen where they got apples and bananas for everybody, and it looks like a cattle call. Like how important could it have fucking been for you to have me if you've got 150 fucking people here? I had to cough up money to fly back and do this goddamn show, a game show. It's like I'm not even like an actor in it, for Christ's sake. So I walk in, I stand in line, I sign in, and they come in to give us a speech. And in the speech, they come in and they tell us that they're going to parcel us off into teams of 6. I think it was 6 or 5. And it might have been 5. And they're going to go ahead and segregate the teams. And you might get on today, and you might not get picked today. It all depends on the lengths of the games that are played out inside. So the first game happens. If they go all the way to the championship round and win $1 million, that might take 2 hours. But a team could be eliminated in 15 minutes if they give the wrong answers. We have no idea, and we're picking people by lot. So we don't know for sure if you're going to be used today. If you're not used today, we'd like you to come back tomorrow. Well, I changed my flight, and I'm also, I flew home, and then I bought another ticket to fly back to Chicago on Saturday because I figured I was going to be done with the taping on Friday, and I could leave on the red eye Friday night and get back to Chicago Saturday for my shows on Saturday. So I'm fucking pissed. I go and I sit down, and let me tell you something else about game shows. They attract normal people, and they attract the wannabe actor. And the wannabe actor is usually the guy who's pontificating about the last time he was on set, and he sits there and he's holding court with the Real Housewives as they're reading their fucking Danielle Steele novels, and they put them down long enough to hear this guy relate a tale of the time he was on Guiding Light. I mean, it's just fucking horrible to sit through. And I want I'm a misfit, okay? I'm an island. I want nothing to do with real people, and I want nothing to do with actor people. I just want to go ahead and sit on the side and get my chance to win fucking greed money and get back to Chicago and do stand up, okay? So I'm waiting in the back. They separate our teams, and you meet everybody who's on your team. These are pleasant people. They don't know that I'm this fucking misfit who doesn't like talking to anybody in the world, and that's a lie. I do like talking to people, I guess, but not these people. All right, so. They sit us down with our team, and then our team is like, well, what do you know? What do you know? We're all trying to exchange information to see who knows what. I said, well, I know sports real well, and I sort of know pop culture a lot, and then a lot of back and forth about who knows what. So they get ready for the taping, and they call the first team. Not my team. Call the first team. First team goes out. And they play the game, and we're in the back listening, and we're trying, but they don't want us to see it. But they want us to hear gameplay because they want us to know and be familiar with what's going on when we go out to the taping. And I see Woolery on the monitor. Oh my God, his teeth and his watch just shining through, hypnotizing me. And so my team's getting all excited. They're getting all they're rabble rousing a little bit about what they're going to do. Except for one guy, and I think his name was Rick. He was like sick to his stomach. You could see he was so nervous and freaked out. He's wearing a suit with the shirt buttoned all the way to the top with a fucking tie as tight as it could possibly be. And he's sweating. He's actually got beads of sweat on his forehead. He just looked miserable. So I, of course, start talking to him. I'm like, hey, because we all had gigantic name tags on. So I go, yeah, Rick, right? And because I'm trying to cheer him up and make him like laugh, and he just goes, yes. And I'm like, Rick, come on, what are you worried about here? We're gonna go out there. You're gonna miss a question about Snagglepuss, and then we're all gonna go home. And he's like, oh, what? And I go, nothing. I'm sorry. I'm just because I'm trying to be funny, but it's not working because Rick is he's in his own head. He wants nothing. I thought I was a misfit who didn't want to talk to anybody, and now I'm bothering Rick who really doesn't want to talk to anybody. So we're off to the side. They call another team, not my team. This team goes out. And I think they won like 40 grand or something like that, and then they quit And I should tell you this about game shows too. Game shows want you to win. Okay? It's very important to them that you win because it's better for viewers, it's better for hype. It's if people win, look, people are winning, we're all having a good time. They don't want to defeat you. They want you to fucking come through as a genius and win the game. So the second team quits, and they actually gave us a speech. They're like, don't quit early. We want you guys to win, so try to win more money. And these other people are all like, they're just saying that because it's going to get harder and we're going to lose money as it goes on. And I want to go, no, they want you to win money. That's the point. And the best part about Greed, I will tell you this, there's the gameplay with the questions and stuff, but there's a thing called the Terminator. And the Terminator is like a flashing light, like almost like big bucks, no whammies, stop. Okay, well, it's that, but it's flashing on all the podiums. And stop, whoever it stops on has the opportunity to challenge somebody and take their money. That's why the game is called Greed. The thing about the Terminator is if you challenge somebody and win, you get their money. If you challenge them and lose, you lose and you're gone. But the incentive is if you get the Terminator landing on you and you call somebody out, you get $10,000. So that's where they want you to think about it. You're like, fuck, do I steal this? Whatever. So I thought it added a fun element of gameplay. So I'm in the back. Terminator's happening. People are passing on it. Nobody's really doing it, and they're just playing their game. So the third team gets called, and this time the producers have a stop down. And they take like a half hour, and they have a discussion. And then they come back, and they go, all right, we're going to take a third team, but when we call your name, come out. We're not going to take any of the teams that are grouped. We're just going to bring individual people. So they start calling people's names. I forget. They called a few names. And they call Rick, and then they call Michael Schmidt. So they're building a team of people that they want to see on the show. And I'm really excited that they called me because now I can get to fucking Chicago and do my stand-up. And plus, I can go out here and win a goddamn $1 million. Let's do this. So we walk out there, and we meet the announcer. And he's like, what are we going to say about you folks? And you have to tell them what you're doing. Now, I had told them I was a bouncer, okay, because they don't want to hear that you're a comedian. People at home need to know that you have a real job and you're not in the business. So I was like, yeah, I'm a bouncer, because at the time I was still bouncing at the House of Blues in addition to doing stand-up. So they brought us outside, and the way Greed did it was they would line you all up in front of your podiums. And the camera would go from one person to the other person, and this really deep voice announcer would go, Lily von Stupp. And, you would lean forward and you go, I'm a bouncer from Los Angeles. And you would step back. Or the announcer would say that, whatever. But the bottom line is they would show you on camera and you would nod or point or whatever you would do. So they bring us out there. They kill the lights. They're getting everybody geeked up. The crowd is going crazy. It's cold in the studio. Woolery is standing there. They got the fucking spotlights rolling. They start the music. They got the announcer. And I'm like fourth in line, I think. So they start from my right and they start scrolling down. And they're like, Willie, blah, 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 blah. I'm a salesman from Orange County. So, da-da. And they get to me and the announcer goes, Michelle Schmidt. And deep voice, huge music, flashing lights, opening of the show. And he goes, Michelle Schmidt. And I step forward and I go, that's Michael. And I don't know why. Blows the roof off of the building. Crowd goes crazy. I mean, like crazy applause to the point where I go, and I like lean forward and kind of like wave, nod, and I completely milk it for everything it's worth. And they just go to the next person and they introduce the next person and they leave it in. They don't retake it because the reaction it got was so fucking huge. They went crazy. They're like, yeah, all right, we got to leave that in. And so we go to our podiums and we start the game. And on the first stop down, they come over to me and the producers immediately, they didn't even go to Woolery. They come right up to me. Oh my God, that was so great what you did. We can't believe you kept it going, that you didn't stop. Because normally people would just freeze and go, oh no, my name is They go, you played it perfectly. It was great. The reaction you got was great. And I'm like, yeah, okay, good. I'm glad. So, because again, I'm Mike Schmidt. What the fuck? What did you expect? I'm goddamn Mike Schmidt. So they fucking come out and they're talking to Woolery and Woolery is laughing and he talks to me. He has a little back and forth with me when it gets to me. My question is, he says, you're a bouncer from LA. We talk blah, blah. And my question was, what magazine features the seal of approval? Is it A, Sports Illustrated, B, Good Housekeeping, C, Cosmopolitan, or D, Newsweek? Which is it, Mike? That's right, Mike. Chuck and I are very close. So I take a second and I go, all right, Chuck, I think I know the answer to this, but I have to be honest. I do not want to know what you would have to do to earn the Cosmopolitan magazine seal of approval. And I don't know why. I know why, because I'm fucking Mike Schmidt. Blows the roof off. Everybody goes crazy. Chuck, ha, ha, ha. He starts laughing. He laughs like a crazy rich guy laugh. Like, look at my teeth, how great I am. Ha, 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 ha. Like Mr. Howell. I don't fucking get why, but he did it. And he's laughing. They cut, I can see him cracking up. My teammates are all cracking up. And I go, no, the answer is, of course, is Good Housekeeping. So I say Good Housekeeping. They go, is that the answer? They ask the captain if he wants to change it. He goes, I'm not going to change it. That's absolutely the answer. Fantastic. That's the answer. Hey, everybody goes crazy. We're all happy. And we're accumulating money. Now we all have $20,000. Okay? That's the thing. Everybody has $20,000. So now, time for the Terminator. And he explains the rules of the Terminator. I'm sitting there waiting, and everybody's excited. And I should tell you, beforehand, we all talked. And everybody said, when the Terminator lands on you, are you guys going to do it? And people were like, no, I don't want to do that. We're a good team. Let's keep it together. So they've done the Terminator a couple of times in our show, and the people went, I think this is a good team. Let's keep it together. Let's do this. So I'm like the fourth seat. The first seat, by the way, is Rick, who he got his question correct, all right? But he, again, looks miserable standing there. And so they go, it's time for the Terminator. And I can see he almost audibly shakes. Like I can see him. He's just frightened out of his mind, sweaty. And Chuck goes, all right, let's see it. Let's roll the Terminator. Bop, 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 bop. And it makes this weird noise. And it's me. My podium lights up. And I will tell you that the place went up for grabs. All right. Because they're rooting for me at this point. Everybody, because I'm goddamn Mike Schmidt. That's why. So he goes, oh, he goes, the Terminator has landed on Michael. He goes, Michael, you got the choice. He goes, you can keep this team together. You guys seem to be doing very well. He goes, or you can pick somebody and try to take their money. I have $10,000 for you if you make that choice. And I looked at him and I was like, $10,000. I said, well, it is a pretty good team. And I looked to my right. There's one guy on my right. And I just look at him, and he kind of looks at me like with a smile. And I look down to my left, and there's a couple of people to my left that I see, and they're, just kind of like looking at me, waiting. They're on my team. And they're kind of like shaking their head like, don't, let's keep this together. And in the first seat, I can just see sweaty Mick, top button Rick staring at the floor, sweat dripping off of his head. And all I can think in my head is $10,000. Well, I already have $20,000. But if I beat Rick, I've got $50,000. It's in my brain. I look down and I just go, Rick? And he like looks up really scared, and I go, let's dance. On a game show, I say, let's dance. So, and the crowd goes bananas. And so I walk over. I walk down to what you do is you go down to the center. There's like a Family Feud where you ring in first. First guy to ring in with the answer wins. And I should tell you that I brought Karen and my brother Lenny and his wife Vesna to the taping, so they're in the audience. I walk down to the front, and I eyeball Rick the entire fucking way. Like, I don't stop looking at him. I look at him all the way, and they're like, go ahead and shake hands. And I don't think if he looked at me, he just put his hand out, and I'm just staring right at him, and I shake his hand, and I got my hand on the fucking buzzer, and there was this thing, I have a buzzer technique, folks, and it's kind of an intimidation thing. It's so stupid and weird, but I did it. I would rock, like, back and forth, like I was going to fucking, like, a caged animal, and I'm standing there, and I'm looking at Rick, and I'm waiting to buzz in, and here's the question. Woolery goes, all right, here's your $10,000, hands me the 10 grand, literally hands me $10,000. And I take it, I put it on the podium. He goes, all right, here's your question. The presidential retreat, Camp David, is named for the son of which president? Now, let me tell you folks something about being on a game show. You're in the studio, you're in the lights, and as relaxed as I looked, he just handed me $10,000. So I have to admit, I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about the 50 grand. I shouldn't have been. I should have just been thinking about playing and having fun like I had been up until that point. But for some reason, when he asked me that question, instead of answering it, because I knew the answer was Eisenhower. I knew the answer was Eisenhower. But for some reason, my strategy to humiliate Rick was to get him to buzz in and miss the question, rather than get the question and eliminate him. I don't know why I made that choice. I still to this day can't explain it, but that was my choice. Instead, I kept my hand on the buzzer, and I'm staring right at him, waiting for him to ring in. I even flinched a couple times, like a boxer, I think. Like, come on. And he said, and he asked, I knew the answer was Eisenhower, but for some reason I didn't ring in. I was waiting for Rick to ring in and miss it, like to make his humiliation complete. What I really should have realized was he was too scared to even fucking move. Like, he didn't even want to be there anymore. And now I called him out and said, let's dance on national television in front of everybody. So why didn't I just fucking buzz in and give him the throat slash and answer the question and win? But instead, I, for some reason, waited for him to buzz in and miss it. And 5 seconds goes by and a buzzer goes off. They go, all right, we'll reset with a new question. And they go, all right. How many crayons were in the original pack of Crayolas? And I should tell you, I knew Eisenhower. And this question, now I'm really expecting Rick to buzz in, but for some reason, and again, I can't explain my behavior, I buzz in immediately. Even though I have no idea what the answer is. I mean, none. And he goes, Michael? And dude, it seems like an eternity, but I know it only took 2 seconds. Because I'm looking at Rick, I never stopped eyeballing him once. Even when they buzzed on the one question we didn't answer, he never even looked up at me. He's still looking down, and they go, all right, how many crayons were in the original pack of Crayolas? Bang! Michael, 6. Oh, it's 8. And I'm standing there. In 2 seconds, I lost. After being funny and charming and interesting, being goddamn Mike Schmidt, I called out, I said, let's dance to this guy, and I lost. So Chuck, it happened so quickly where Chuck is like, Michael, I'm sorry, the answer is 8. It's so nice of you. So Rick, you get Mike's $20,000. That brings you up to $40,000. Rick, go sit down. Mike, we're glad. Nice to meet you. Shakes my hand and hands me the 10 grand, and I walk off. And I'm shell-shocked. I can't even believe that it's over. I can't believe that I lost. I walk to the back, and all these contestants are looking at me. I will not, and I'm not even joking, with awe. Like, oh my God, you were the best. Why are you leaving? Why is the best leaving? I can't believe the best is leaving. And the producer comes over to me, and she puts her arm around me, and she takes me over. And the guys at the table, like the control table guys, I'm not joking, have their heads in their hands, like with their heads in their face. And one of them looks up at me and goes, "Why did you lose?" And I went, I don't know. And I stood there and watched them answer another question and get another $20,000 each. And they processed my paperwork. They told me I was going to get the 10 grand. I'd get a check for it. And I was done in 15 minutes with all the processing. And my team was also done in 15 minutes. They quit at $200,000 and the guy who took my money I think he won 90 grand. And I'm just sitting there. I'm watching them win, and all the contestants are looking at me going, "You should be out there. You should have won. I mean, you should have won. You were the best." And you don't even think about it. Again, I'm in fucking dreamland, filling out paperwork, and I'm in my head. I'm trying to go, "Well, you know, $10,000. I guess that's okay, right?" You know. And so I walk out. I meet Karen and my brother and his wife, and they're smiling. They're like, "Oh, dude, you were hilarious." I go, "I lost." And they go, "No, you didn't lose. You won 10,000." I go, "No, I lost 40,000." They go, "Dude, you won $10,000. I go, "No, I lost $40,000, and I look stupid doing it." They're like, "You didn't look stupid. You were hilarious." And I go, "No, but at the end, I challenged a guy and lost." I go, "And I knew it was Eisenhower." And Lenny goes, "I almost wanted to yell it." He goes, "I know you knew it." And I go, "Fuck, I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in?" And that little think of that last 10 seconds. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? I lost $40,000. Now take that 10 seconds and repeat it for 4 days. Because we left, we get in the car, and I wasn't being overtly mean to them. I was angry at myself, and I couldn't believe that I'd lost. I'm astonished that I lost, and it was my fault. If I lose to somebody who's better than me, it's a different story. But that guy, he won 80 grand because of me being stupid. Like, it was my fault. So that night we got home. I couldn't sleep. And I'm not even joking about couldn't sleep. Like, I laid in bed staring up in the dark, like I've heard and read in so many books and songs in my life, in the dark with my wife sleeping next to me and just staring and not being able to sleep all night, Friday night. And got up real early for a Saturday flight. Went to the airport, couldn't sleep on the plane. Got to Chicago, went to my room, tried to sleep, couldn't sleep. Did shows that night in a funk because I had to tell Bert what happened, and because everybody was expecting me to, I won $1 billion, and instead and they all they hear is that I won 10 grand, and they think it's the greatest thing in the world, and I'm just like, you don't understand how bad it was. I would have won so much more, and it was my mistake, and they're just like, you got to calm down. You won $10,000. I'm like, I lost 40. That's what I did, and that night I could not sleep. Saturday night. Sunday, I got up, and I'm not kidding you, I did not sleep for 4 straight days. I might have fallen asleep for a half hour here or there, or maybe an hour or 15 minutes, but I never slept solid sleep because I would, in my head, kept repeating, I honestly thought, I'm never going to have the chance to get that much money again. Certainly not at one time. I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? I think I actually said it on stage at one point. Because and this is before I was comfortable telling stories about me and my life. So I was probably doing my act that I had at the time, and I probably just might have slipped it in, and everyone's like, what is he saying? Well, I'm a catatonic zombie at this point who can't even focus. I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. I should have buzzed in. Fucking crayons? Crayons. I lost $40,000 because of crayons. And I didn't even know about crayons, and yet I purported to know about crayons by hitting the goddamn buzzer. Who the fuck knows about crayons? 8-6. It's such a crapshoot. You don't buzz in on a crapshoot. You buzz in on something you know. Like Eisenhower. For $40,000. 4 days, couldn't sleep. Finally passed out from sheer exhaustion after 4 days. But I was inconsolable. I mean, there was nothing I could do about it. I was just horrified. They call up, they tell me when it's going to air. I'm like, I don't even want to fucking watch it. I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't want to watch it. Show airs. They leave in me saying, Michelle, that's Michael. Place goes fucking crazy. Cosmopolitan seal approval, brings the house down. And you could see people feared me. Like, you could see that they thought I was great, but at the same time, they're like, Jesus, we don't want anything to do with that guy. He's so confident and unbelievable. And then they call me down for the thing, seamless editing. You just see me blow the fucking Crayola question, and I can see my face to this day, my fat face go, like, make a squishy face. Just like wince and no, and then I get a handshake, and then I walk off to the back, and I go, I can't watch these people win the rest of this money. I can't. Because then Rick settled right down. He's got 40 grand. He's all excited. Now all of a sudden he loosens his tie. He's cutting jokes. I'm in the back going, I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? But the worst part is nobody at home knows that, because that was edited right out because neither one of us buzzed. All they know is I don't know a shit about crayons. So it airs, and I have friends back home who are good friends. I've talked about them, Dennis and Jeff and Max and guys like that. I got a friend named the Big Guy, my buddy Craig. He's called the Big Guy. And the Big Guy calls me up, and he's like, dude, he goes, you were great on there. And I'm like, dude, I wasn't great. I was horrible. I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. I should have buzzed in. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. There's no Eisenhower question at all. And then I asked to explain to him what happened. He goes, how did you not know that about the crayons? I go, what do you mean, how did I not know that about the crayons? Who the fuck knows that about crayons? 8, 6? They could have said one giant crayon. Who the fuck knows? You knew? Good, you knew. You would have won $40,000. You would have buzzed in. But Jesus Christ, I didn't. I buzzed in and fucking lost it. Oh, I was horrified. So Craig's like, I know, I'm just busting your balls, whatever. So a few days go by. Get a package in the mail. It's from Craig, the Big Guy. And I open it up. And it's gift wrapped, and I pull it out. It's a note. He's like, hey, because I sent this to you. You sounded like you needed cheering up on the phone. I opened it up. It's a men's necktie. He bought me a tie. Now, look, we've already established I wouldn't even wear a tie to see Jesus. But, he's trying to cheer me up. He buys me a tie. And ties have patterns. Sometimes they have diamonds. Sometimes they have checkers. Sometimes they'll have a silly picture on them, like the Grinch for Christmas. This would be a tie covered with crayons. Every different crayon is on the Crayola tie. Crayola brand tie. And in the note, he's like, yeah, you sounded like you needed some cheering up on the phone. I thought you'd enjoy this. That's my friends. Ballbusters to the end. Gives me a Crayola tie. Karen sees it, and she's like, oh, that's nice. And I go, it's not nice. Big Guy's being an asshole. And she's like, come on, he's just being funny. I go, I knew it was Eisenhower. I lost $40,000. I should have buzzed in. Horrible. So so losing on a game show is terrible, folks. And rarely do you ever get the chance to go back on and make good on your mistake, like these people are doing on $1 Million Money Drop. But I can tell you, I know how they feel because I got to go back and try to erase my mistake. Because I got a phone call about a month after it aired from the producers of Greed, and they were putting together a tournament of their favorite contestants, and they wanted me to come on and try to win some money. Now, I have never been sentenced to death. But I can't imagine a convict walking into the gas chamber being happier than I was with a phone call from the governor. I mean, it was an unbelievable second chance. I get to go on and erase the memories of Eisenhower to scrub the legacy of crayons. I have to get these crayons. That's the thing. Is it's like, again, nobody knows about Eisenhower. All anybody knows about is the fucking crayons. The crayons rule my life. I can't get rid of the crayons. I'm like, fuck crayons. But that's all anybody wants to talk about is how did you not know the crayon question? Jesus Christ. I knew the Eisenhower question you didn't get to see. And see, here's the thing. It's important for me to get back on the show because not only to save my own face, I should tell you this. Not only did I get on Greed, but I referred like a couple of friends of mine to Greed. My friend Kurt I said to him, I go, hey, you should come in and, fill out the thing. He won 40 grand. Brian Noonan, who, he was talking about going in for Greed. I mentioned him, and he went in. Brian Noonan won $100,000 on Greed. He fucking killed it. I lost $40,000 on Greed. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? But now I get to go back, and I get to fucking clean house and scrub the memories of Eisenhower. I get to do all of it. So, we get a call from Karen's mom. In between the airing of my Greed and the producer's phone call, I should have mentioned this earlier. She's like, they talked about Michael today on TV. And Karen's like, what are you talking about? And she said, that guy from the show was on that other show, which, of course, old people always do. When they don't want you to go see who's on the roof. They call you with incomplete anecdotes that you have to fill in. And my mom's like, what do you mean? Or Karen's like, what do you mean? And it turns out Chuck Woolery was on Regis and Kathy Lee being interviewed, talking about Greed, talking about the show. Because it became a ratings hit. It did well. And they asked him about his favorite contestants. And Chuck Woolery said, oh, we had a guy on there named Michael. He's a bouncer from Los Angeles. And we all loved him. He goes, he came on and he was so funny. And, well, you know what? We have a clip. They showed the clip of me correcting my name from the announcer on Regis and Kathy Lee. Chuck Woolery brought a clip of me to show on Regis and Kathy Lee. I wish he would have brought the Eisenhower clip, and everybody would know what the fuck was going on. Stop busting my balls about crayons. But they come back, and Chuck's like, yeah, he didn't win, and we really wanted him. Everybody in the place, even the audience, everybody you heard, they were all rooting for him. And for some reason, it just didn't happen. So he was one of my favorites. Then I get the call from the producers weeks later. And I can't fucking wait. I'm like, when? Now? Should I come in now? That'd be great. I'll sleep out in the studio. What do you need me to do? You want me to sweep up? Jesus Christ, get me on this goddamn show immediately. I need to banish the memories of crayons. So they schedule me to come in. And I go in for the taping. And it's a different vibe backstage now because all these people have been on the show before. So they're old hat. They're all veterans. They've been here. They've done that. They know what's going on. So I walk in. A couple people recognize me, and they come up and they go, hey, Michelle, ha, ha, ha. And I go, hey, ha, ha, ha. They go, how's it going? And they go, hey, how many crayons are in a box of crayons? Ha, 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 ha. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm not getting on because I'm going to murder everyone. What a disappointment. I can't believe I'm not getting on the show because I'm going to stab everyone in the eye with a goddamn sharpened crayon. Ha, ha, how many are boxes of crayons? Ha, ha, 8, 6, how many? You got? Ha, shut up, die. So I go off, and again, I sit alone because I'm a misfit. And if only the iPod had been invented, I would be wearing my earbuds from tweakedaudio.com/40 just to keep people at their distance. Even though the iPod was not invented. Actually, it was. It probably was. I just couldn't afford one because I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? So I'm sitting there waiting, and everybody's milling about. And again, they're very cocky, and they're very, because they're the favorites. They're all excited, and they're all excited to have a second chance. But they're veterans of this sort of thing now. And I'm sitting there quiet. I got nothing to do with anybody. I don't want to make a clique. I don't want to make a friend. I'm reading. I think I brought in like 10 newspapers, and I'm reading them, which must have looked like I was the most studious nerd on the planet. And I can't believe someone didn't walk over and go, hey, you got the Crayola Times there? Because that might help you out. 8, 6, stupid. God damn it, I lost $40,000. So I'm waiting, I'm reading, and they start giving us a briefing. So I put the paper down, and I'm sitting at a table. They come in, and their producers are like, you've all been here before. You know what the rules are. We're going to pick you in teams of 5. We're going to bring you out. Again, it's the same. Everybody here has been through it, so you all know what's going on. We're probably going to tape 4 shows today. It all depends on the length of time. And hopefully we'll have some of you back tomorrow if we don't get you on today. But, again, you're not guaranteed to go on, but we've brought you on just in case. We'll see. And right now, as a special treat, we would like to, Chuck wants to come out and say a few words to everybody. And everybody's like, woo, yeah, they start clapping, and Chuck comes in, he bounds in with his, amazing rich man sweater, and his crazy watch that if it fell from a great height would murder you, and his amazing teeth that he could pencil neck you and bite your head off, like in a second. He's just like his prominent, he you know who he looks like in person? This is going to sound stupid. If you remember the old electric company, there was a hero named Letterman. And the spellbinder would try to fight him, and Letterman would have like a C on his varsity sweater, and he would change a hoke into a choke and then choke out the spellbinder. I don't know what he fucking did. He's changing that duck back into a dock. So then the boat, of course, didn't crash into a dock. So, or changing the dock back into a duck. Regardless, that's who Chuck Woolery looks like in person. Is the fucking, he looks like Letterman, this huge, gigantic. He looks like Superman. Who am I kidding? So he comes in to give a speech, and his hair is perfect. He just looks phenomenal. He's like, all right, you guys have all been here before. We loved having you. You're our favorites. So go out there and relax. Have a good time. We want to make sure everyone here enjoys themselves, and let's all win some money. Does everybody want to win some money? Everybody's like, yeah. He goes, all right, well, I'm so glad that you guys are here. Mike, we're so happy that you came back. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and enjoy it and win some money. Hey, hey, hey. And everybody claps, and he walks off, and the entire room looks at me like, who the fuck is that guy? Chuck Woolery leaned over, like he's like, rah, 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 and I'm at the front table, and he leans over and he goes, Mike, so glad that you came back. All right, let's go and do this. Like, fucking right to me. So then everybody wants to be my friend and wants to be on my goddamn team because Chuck Woolery, fucking Letterman, loves me. So I couldn't believe it either. I got to be truly honest with you. It was just like so out of the blue. And I'm waiting. They're like, all right, let's do this. We ready for this? Who's the first team? And they start calling names, and guess who's on it? Mike Schmidt, right on the first team. So the people who got picked with me are all excited. They're all happy. So we get out. We sit at our podiums. The same thing, the introduction. But this time they get it right, Michael Schmidt. I sit down. It comes around to me, and Chuck and I decide to have a little banter. We don't really decide to. Chuck has banter with everybody. But I like to think that Chuck decided, hey, I'm going to talk to Mike. So he's like, hey, when you were on here, we really enjoyed having you. We loved it. It was such a great time. But something happened and you lost. And do you remember what you lost on? Really, Chuck? Even you are going to bust my balls about the crayons? Honestly? I thought we were close, Chuck. Come on, man. I lost $40,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. I should have buzzed it. So he says, do you remember what you lost on? And I said, Chuck, I lost on a question about crayons. You asked how many crayons were in a box of Crayolas, the original box, and the answer was 8, and I said 6. And, you know, it's funny. I have a bunch of friends back home who thought it was hilarious that I lost on the crayon question. And my buddy Craig actually took it upon himself to send this to me. And I pulled out the crayon tie. I actually brought it on television to make my humiliation complete. Because I knew it would inspire me. I'm like, fuck, if I bring the crayon tie, I'm going to ward everybody off. This is going to be fantastic. So we start playing. And I'm waiting for the Terminator to come up. Because I've already decided that if the Terminator comes up again, I'm picking that fucking thing and I'm taking somebody's money. How do I pass up another $10,000? So sure enough, we start answering questions. The Terminator goes, never lands on me. Never fucking lands on me. And nobody calls me out, like to try to steal my money, which is disappointing because I wanted somebody, but I think they knew better. They could see the 8 colors of rage I was turning over the Crayolas. I thought it was 6. I got to be honest. I thought it was 6 colors of rage, but it turns out I turned 8 colors of rage. I lost $40,000. So I'm sitting there waiting. And the thing is, people are getting called out on the Terminator. One guy takes out our captain and takes over the captaincy. And this guy, I will tell you, was also real cool, real breezy, answering questions. And like, he knew how to play. He knew how to be on a game show. Because they would ask him and he'd go like, he'd think about it and ponder it and go, you know, Chuck, because they tell you to talk it out. You can't just sit there and be a lump on a log. And so he would talk it out with Chuck. Chuck, this is a lot of money, and I know that you're offering me this money. Because Chuck would periodically, the higher we got up the ladder, Chuck would say, hey, look, I'll give you this $50,000. You guys can all split it right now. And the captain would look at us, and we weren't allowed to talk, okay, on answers. We could nod, or we could, like, you know, when they were giving us the money, like, we could kind of give them encouragement, but we could not say answers or nod or give anything like we knew what the answer was. So he keeps turning down the progressively larger sums of money. So Terminators happen. People lose their money. The guy on my right takes somebody's cash. The captain takes the captaincy in their cash. Somebody else gets eliminated by giving up their cash. And now it's down, the team is me, the guy on my right, and the captain. And with all of the money taking going on, I have $100,000. The guy next to me has $200,000. The captain has $200,000. We have 2 more questions, I think it was, to go for the $1 million. So the question they ask is, which of these products were introduced first in chronological order? And they give you 4 products, and we get to pick 3. And as long as the 3 of them were developed earlier than the remaining 4th, we're going to win. So he asks the question, and the choices were windshield wipers, birth control pills, Batman, and a 4th that I don't remember, unfortunately. So they wanted to know which of these were developed first, or in chronological order, or I got to be honest with you, I don't remember the fucking question, okay? And you'll hear why. But I do remember the choices vividly. And I had to choose first, and I took the one that I knew I was sure of. And I even said that out loud. I said, hey, I'll take the easy one. I'll take Batman, because that's 1939. And so they asked the captain if he wants to change that answer. And I'm looking, because that's the thing, is the captain gets the opportunity to change it. And the captain is like, no. And then Chuck says, look, he goes, I'm willing to give you guys $75,000 right now to split amongst yourselves if you quit right now without going with that answer. And we can't tell the guy, we can't tell our captain to take the money. We can't tell him anything. We can just stare at him and hope he gets the message. But I knew for sure I was right with Batman. And I should tell you, again, this guy, really a cool cucumber customer, knew what he was doing. And he goes, nope, Chuck, I'll tell you what, I know Batman's definitely an answer. So let's go with it. Chuck's like, all right. Is Batman right? Yes, Batman is right. So I'm right. Yay, much rejoicing. And now we get certain money. And now it's time to move on to the next guy who has to make his choice. And he goes to make his choice. And he chooses windshield wipers. And they throw it to the captain. And the captain goes, goes through his routine with Chuck. Oh, Chuck, I don't know. Man, windshield wipers, birth control pills. It's a tough one. I don't even know. And Chuck goes, well, I'm telling you what. I will offer you guys $80,000 to split amongst yourselves right now. I believe it was 80. Might have been 90. Because that splits evenly with 3. Could have been 90. Whatever. He offered amount of money to split. And he says, you guys can take this money right now. You don't even have to check this answer. And the captain goes, you know what? No. He goes, but I'm going to change the answer. And I look at the guy next to me who gave the windshield wiper answer, and we make saucer eyes at one another like, because I guarantee windshield wipers is one of the answers. The 2 that we didn't know about were birth control pills and the 4th one, which I can't remember at this point. But we knew windshield wipers and Batman were the cripples. I mean, absolutely. They were the Eisenhowers of this round. So I'm looking at this guy, and we look at him, and he says, I'm going to change the answer. And Chuck goes, you're going to change it. You go, all right, you're going to change your answer. And he looks at us, and we're staring at him with the intensity that would have set him on fire if we were on another planet. Like he would have burst into flames from our combined death stares. Like, don't you dare fucking change this. And we're staring at him like, don't do this. And he goes, yeah, you know what? I'm going to change from windshield wipers to birth control pills. And he goes, yeah? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I think it's going to be like a trick. He goes, I think birth control pills were probably developed in a lab like in 1910, and the way it works out. So I'm going to go with that because I think it's a trick. And I'm sitting there staring. The guy next to me is staring. We can't even look at one another anymore because our heads will explode like in fucking scanners. And we're staring at the captain. He goes, all right, you changed windshield wipers to birth control pills. Is he right? Wrong. And again, I should tell you, I might be wrong. There could have been, we had to pick 4 out of 8. I've blocked it out of my head, and now you know why, because I just lost $100,000 fucking dollars. The other guy lost 2. The captain lost 2. And the captain just kind of shrugs. He goes, what are you going to do? And Chuck Woolery's like, oh, man, you guys were so close. We really wanted you to win. And the guy's like, I get it. It's no problem. And he goes, come on down here, guys. All right, we're going to come back. And Chuck's throwing it to fucking commercial. And me and the other guy walk down, and we're standing just staring at the captain. And it's that crosstalk where we're not mic'd anymore. They're like, ba 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 ba. They're playing the music, and Chuck's like looking, and the guy looks at this, and he shrugs, and he goes, fellas, you know what? Drinks are on me. And I lean forward, and I go, you're going to buy me $100,000 worth of fucking drinks? And he makes this face like, oh, you were taking this seriously. It wasn't just a game to you, kind of, huh? And the other guy just leans forward and goes, I can't believe you changed that answer. Because again, we combined lost $300,000. And this guy's just like, come on, it's just a game, easy come, easy go. It's all found money anyway. And I just go, I didn't find any money. Like, so if you ever see crosstalk in a game show after people have lost, they're all not like, this is great. Nice meeting you, Chuck. They're like, Chuck, can I borrow your giant watch to fucking murder this guy? God damn it. And we're doing the crosstalk, and then they bring the bell, time's up, and Chuck shakes everybody's hands. He shakes the one guy's hand, he shakes the captain's hand, and he looks at me and he puts both hands on my shoulders, and he goes, maybe we can get you back. Like he wants to bring me back for a third time. Chuck Woolery, awesome. And I go, thank you so much, Chuck. You're too nice. And I shook his hand, and it was a little different this time because the first time, like I said, I walked into the back shell-shocked, and everybody was like, why did you lose? Oh, my God, we're so disappointed that you lost. Oh, my God. Well, I walk in the back this time, and it's all business. We're walking to the back. They're bringing the other team out. They're getting everybody in a row. They're going, all right, fill out your paperwork here and here. And I don't even have $10,000 to take home with me at this point. So I walk out. I fill out the thing. I go ahead and fill all the paperwork out, and I'm out the door in 5 minutes. Hey, sorry you didn't win. Thanks for coming on. We're glad to see you. Take care. Oh, I'd sign this, sign this, sign this. We're going to walk you off the lot. Here you go, right there. All of a sudden, I'm standing outside with like paperwork in my hand and just the fucking cold realization that now I've lost $140,000. I knew it was Eisenhower. Why didn't I buzz in? And that guy goes out another exit, so I don't have to see him fucking take off. And he goes out to the lot. We both meet in the lot, and he's just like, hey, take care, man. Good meeting you. And I want to. He's lucky I'm not in my car because I may run him down. I can't believe he's this cheerful about losing $100,000. And $200,000. He lost $200,000. And what's funny is that guy went on. I find out later he's a gambler, like a professional gambler. He went on later, and he was on like the Game Show Network Poker Show and the Game Show Network Blackjack Show, and he won big on their Blackjack show. He became like a professional game show guy that was going on all these cards shows. So to him, $200,000 is fucking nothing. That's a weekend. He goes and plays cards in Vegas and high stakes games, and then he leaves. So I find out that that's that dude. Meanwhile, I'm wearing the same shirt I wore the first time I was on the goddamn show. It's not like I got this huge wardrobe, and I still got Eisenhower throbbing in my fucking temples. Jesus Christ, the only tie I own was given to me as a joke by my friends. But this guy's off to fucking gallivant to Vegas and win $200,000. I'm fucking horrified. I get in my car, and I'm driving home. I'm just sick to my stomach. I mean, Chuck Woolery's no longer my friend. Like, he plugged me on Regis and Kathy Lee. Now, this is going to air that we lose. It's going to be fucking terrible. I'm trying to fathom. Now a second chance has gone by, and this time $100,000. This time not my fault, but it doesn't matter because if the first time when I knew it was Eisenhower and I lost $40,000, if I would have buzzed in, maybe I win then and I got that money. This would have been fuck you money for me too. I get home, I park the car, and it's still daylight. It feels like I've accomplished nothing because I was the first show. So I mean, I'm home by like 12:30. Like my day is it hasn't even started yet. My life has ended. But my day hasn't started. I walk in the house, and Karen's there, and she just goes, because I didn't bring anybody to the taping this time. I just went myself. And she walks out, and she goes, oh, my God, how'd you do? I said, I lost $100,000. She goes, what? I said, I didn't win. I lost $100,000. And she goes, they asked you about crayons again? You guys can get me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend on Facebook at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp at Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. Be her friend on Facebook, Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. Or you can follow her on Twitter at Twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to write her a personal note and find out why I'm still in her house at 12:45 a.m. after she wolfed a salmon dinner in front of me and I told the longest story in the world about crayons, you can write her a personal note at Lily@burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com/40-year-old boy. Please buy all his stuff. I'm changing the game, boss.
I want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, 10 o'clock Monday nights. I happen to have the producer, Lily Von Stupp, here right now. She's the producer of that show. Hey, Lily.
Oh, hello, Michael.
Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt. I'm a host of a podcast called The 40-Year-Old Boy.
I've heard of it.
I have listeners who enjoy burlesque, and they're looking for something to do this Monday. What should they do?
They should come to the Monday Night Teas.
Really?
Yes.
Isn't that the longest running and most successful burlesque show in the history of Los Angeles?
Yes.
Some of that is correct.
Some of that is correct.
Do we know who's going to be there this Monday?
Phil Van T is hosting.
I like Phil.
Marie Monroe,
Okay.
who was a Marilyn Monroe impersonator, is actually making a performance with us. Madeline Sinclair is back.
Will you be in attendance?
I will be there, but I will not be performing.
You'll be working the door and collecting the stuff?
I will be.
All right.
I will be making sure that the butter gets churned and the milk gets squeezed.
Because you like butter in your ass and lollipops in your mouth. That's how you do it. You're the Floyd Gondoli of Los Angeles burlesque.
Oh my God.
That's right. So please go to the Monday Night Teas at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine every Monday night at 10 o'clock p.m. and go see our friend Lily. And again, as always, if you're from this show, go and smack her on the ass as hard as you want. She's going to be very happy about that. Want to remind you folks about burlesquebears.com, especially with Valentine's Day coming up. If you want to get a little slutty bear for the significant other in your life, or if you're stalking someone and want to put it on their windshield. That's a good plan. So go ahead and get a burlesque bear made up with, and tell Lily exactly what you want, and she'll hand make it and make it look exactly the way you want it to look, as long as you like it to look like a bear. Don't write up and go, hey, I wanted it to look like an aardvark. Out. Not happening. BurlesqueAardvark.com, already taken. So she had to go burlesquebears.com. If you want one of those, again, visit burlesquebears.com and place an order. Take a look, see what you want to do there. I want to remind you folks about Facebook.com. As I've mentioned, I'm on there. And there are several organizations on Facebook for you to visit, including the Westside 86 Jokers. They are the fan club of the Mike Schmidt. The Mike Schmidt? I was going to say the Mike Schmidt. They were a fan club of the Mike Schmidt fan club. That's very meta. So they are the Westside 86 Jokers. If you want to join the Mike Schmidt fan club, please go ahead and do that. There are plenty of Bring Mike 2 pages active right now on Facebook. Bring Mike to Portland, Bring Mike to Austin, Bring Mike to Minneapolis, Bring Mike to Australia, Bring Mike to Ireland, Bring Mike to the Ozarks. I'm happy to tell you that there's one page that's active that's actually bringing me somewhere. It turns out we're bringing Mike Schmidt to Phoenix, folks. February 25th, I will be at Space 55. It is a theater on Pierce Street, I think. I can tell you right now, you'll find nothing on the web about it just yet because the ink is just drying on this contract. And I have to contact them and find out about ticket sales. If they, I'm going to probably be doing them online, but I have to coordinate with them in their box office. I have no idea. All I know is I guarantee you Friday night, February 25th, I will be in Phoenix performing Success Is Not an Option. At least a variation of the one-man show because it is a work in progress, as we all know. It'll be different than it was in San Francisco, probably, because I have to make it different before we get to the ultimate goal, which is hopefully New York in August. So I want to remind you folks that anybody in Phoenix, Tucson, Tempe, Flagstaff, Glendale, they're going to be coming, folks. They're going to be charging because it's a small theater, man. I think it's only got 50 seats, maybe 55. Yeah, Space 55. Yeah, I think it's 55 probably, unless they just have a thing for fives. But I purposely chose a small place because A, I don't know how many people are coming, and B, I like working in a smaller place. I mean, I just, and I'm not going to sell out a 100-seat theater yet. I know I'm not. So to make it affordable and to make costs happen for me, it's got to be a smaller area, certainly a smaller theater. So Space 55 is hosting it, and it will be February 25th, Friday night. I haven't decided even on a time yet. So as soon as I know all that, it'll be up on the Facebook page, it'll be Twittered, it'll be announced. But I hope all the people who have joined the Bring Mike Schmidt to Phoenix page are looking to buy some tickets, because they will be available sometime this week. I will put it up on Facebook, and I will notify my mailing list and anybody else who's interested as soon as those are available for sale. But hey, we did it. Going to Phoenix and looking at other cities as well. Hopefully soon. There's waiting on breakthroughs in certain places, but Phoenix is definitely happening February 25th. And I'm apparently going to beat that into the ground and talk about it more than I really should for a room with 50 people. Jesus Christ. I'm playing fucking the Felt Forum. Jesus. All right. Want to remind you folks about the Zazzle store. That's still open if you want to go and get a T-shirt, a mouse pad, a mug. Or if you just wanted to pick up we got the Hanjabaga T-shirt. Be the first on your block. And by the first on your block, I mean be the first on your planet to order one. And also we have the calendar, the I'm Changing the Game Moth 2011 calendar. Sure, we're a month in, but artwork lasts forever. Why not pick up the I'm Changing the Game Moth calendar? And I want to say thank you to all the people who have gone ahead and purchased the calendars and the mouse pads and everything like that. And, I mentioned them earlier, tweakedaudio.com/40. I want to say a special thank you to all the people who've been buying headsets because, again, that benefits the show. And we can't thank you enough. And I'm honestly surprised that you people have responded the way that you have. Thank you so very much for buying the product. And thanks to tweakedaudio.com/40 for even taking a chance. And thank you guys for buying headsets. I want to remind you folks, you can go to the Joe Business page at MikeSchmidtComedy.com, and that's a place to click through and get to the Zazzle store if you want an easy shortcut and look at some hot ladies. And while you're there, you can pick up the Year 1 and Year 2 download sets. You can pick them up separately or pick them up together as part of the Super Angry Guy Gene Happy Good Time Yelling combo. Go ahead and pick those up. Joe Business page, click on through to the purchasing. There's all the links there, and read all the cute little things that I wrote. And I also want to remind you, if you want to donate to the show, you can do that up in the upper hand left-hand corner of every page of MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You will see a little Schmitty with his pocket out. Click on that, and you can donate to the show. Again, people who wanted to subscribe to the show, that's happening. The artwork is just about done. I'm waiting to make a PayPal button. It would have been up today, except PayPal decided to throw me a curveball, so I couldn't do that today. But coming up, there will be a chance for you if you want to subscribe and give to the show monthly. A lot of you have made that inquiry, and I'll go ahead and try to take care of that as best that I can. So, again, donate to the show, pick up a calendar, Westside 86, bring Mike to your town, burlesquebears.com. What else? I've plugged the hell out of everything, haven't I? Jesus Christ. Even if I hadn't, it's 1 a.m. I had to get the fuck out of your house. This is terrible. Karen was going to wait up. There's no way. She's sleeping on one of those straight back chairs. Probably not. Those are her chairs that she wanted to buy, but it's like, how comfortable is it going to be to sleep in that goddamn chair? I'll put it to the test today by not showing up. How's that grab you? Oh man, I don't. It's so funny. Like I can't spend any money because I've mentioned that, folks. Everybody's watching their budget. And then I was watching some stuff from CES. First of all, here's 2 things that I saw that are unbelievable. One, did you see the light up cereal boxes? Oh my God, literally, I am going to tell you this. They've invented cereal boxes with LED lights in the front. And the Trix one lights up like every individual color, and then it lights up the Trix Rabbit. And then the Honey Nut Cheerios one, he's got a wand, and it lights up all the Cheerios and the bee. And if you're the executive who thought of the light-up cereal boxes, how often are you getting blown at the office right now? Honestly, if you walk in with that idea, every cigar-chomping idiot in a suit just went, "You are getting blowjobs for life, my friend, if I have to do them myself." Because how much more cereal look, you can't drive children much more crazy than you can with a cartoon leprechaun. But if that cartoon leprechaun lights up and he's in 3D on the cereal box, try getting a fucking kid out of the cereal aisle. Try getting me out of the cereal aisle. I watched the clip. I had to watch it 15 times. The Honey Nut Cheerios, the Trix, they kept lighting up, and I'm like, dude, this is the most brilliant idea I've ever seen in my life. If it happened when I was a kid, I might have just had a fucking sugar panic and passed out right there. You know those seizures that kids get from like Japanese video games? I would have gotten that from the light-up cereal box. Just the idea of because look, you go home with cereal, you eat it, and you read that boring fucking box anyway to the point where look, I know how to pronounce riboflavin when I was 3 years old, okay? Just because I'm eating cereal and staring at the box because there's nothing else to look at. Well, now the fact that the whole thing lights up, Jesus Christ, that's like having Walt Disney come in your cereal bowl. That's the greatest thing of all time. I can't believe they even thought of it. By now, if you'd have thought of it when I was a kid, first of all, I never would have grown up because I would have finished eating and then eaten another box till eventually I would have just been like the guy in Seven, passed out face first from gluttony in a cereal bowl. And fucking John Doe would have left some sarcastic note about me. But then he would have been distracted by the light up cereal box, and he would have sat down to have a bowl, and he'd be dead right next to me, goddammit. I gotta tell you, even John Doe, strength of conviction, writing on his fucking notepad, he would have seen the light up cereal box and went, well, fuck this fat dude, I'm gonna have a bowl of cereal, and he would have lost himself and died right next to me, and that movie's over in fucking 40 minutes. Done. 7 doesn't even get made with the light up cereal box. I'm fucking fat and dead. There's John Doe. He's right next to me dead. Brad Pitt's fine, and Gwyneth Paltrow's head doesn't wind up in the box. Unless it's a fucking light up box. If Gwyneth Paltrow, hear me out. Maybe the movie continues and Gwyneth Paltrow's head winds up in a fucking light up box. And on the outside, it's like Gwyneth Paltrow, but it lights up and then her eyes, her dead eyes come to life. And even then, David Mills is just like, oh my God, she's still alive. You know, it's her head in the box. What's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? What's in the box? Why do I spit out this random bullshit that nobody fucking cares about? I am peddling obscenity. I am going to get a whole fucking army of you people, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to listen to me and then do nothing for an entire fucking week. I can't be trusted. Don't you people know this? It was like the Back to the Future of suck. I don't want to have a boner in somebody else's pants. I need to shoot up heroin and jog. Hey, ass fuck, are you listening to anything that I'm saying to you? Fuck, somebody's got to shut that old guy up. And I'm like, fuck you! I'm not a potato! I'm a goddamn cantaloupe! Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mike.